Hello, sweet freak bitches from space. We are here. We are queer. Get used to it. Remember that? We're here, we're queer, get used to it?
Yeah.
Like, all right. Jesus.
I marshaled about 10 of those.
Problem with that is, what about all the people that were used to it? You know? You don't have to get all fucking aggro. I'm happy for you.
We're here. We're here.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it. Do you really have to yell outside my window, though, as you walk by with 1 million of your friends? You know, if you live in San Francisco and you're on that fucking parade route, boy.
That's the one, too. Ours
Don't
here.
Plan on taking a nap that day.
West Hollywood? West Hollywood one is on. And
it might be the bigger one. West
so?
Hollywood might be the biggest gay spot. San Francisco still has the reputation as the biggest gay spot.
Yeah.
But how can it fuck with Hollywood? There's more people here, man. And that area is all gay. There's no one area in San Francisco where it's all gay.
Yeah.
You know, there's areas in San Francisco where there's a lot of gay folks that live. But, like, West Hollywood is that one stretch of Santa Monica Boulevard with all the gay bars and all that. They just own a neighborhood.
And that shit it's on lock. It's like mafia run. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you go anywhere near there, be prepared to suck a dick.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to stuff one in your mouth. I mean, it's going to happen.
There's only one way to find out. Let's go to both of them. Like, be Joe Rogan questions everything for the gay parades.
How should we dress?
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Definitely fucking do that. You should go in like some real BDSM like leather shit with a fucking chain strap.
I don't want to question that.
Absolutely, but I feel like I don't know, dude. I think there are neighborhoods because what's the neighborhood in San Francisco?
I was just handed something that says "Move over, New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles." Columbus, Ohio, is now the nation's #1 gay city.
Oh yeah,
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's a good
close.
move. Well, I mean, if you're gay and you're on a budget, why fuck around? You can get a really nice spread in Columbus. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, why the fuck would you want to pay LA prices for a house? LA prices for houses are goddamn ridiculous.
They are so stupid, and the money in this city too that you don't like. Mine. I rent a place. I rent a house. The house across from me just sold, and it sold for like $850. Which I'm like, wow, like, that's a lot of money, man.
$850,000.
They're tearing it down. The teardown started yesterday,
and they're gonna put up some jamming.
Right, but I'm saying that's the money that like it puts into my mind, where I go, Jesus, is like not only do I not like is an $850,000 house just out of my league. I'm like, that's a nice goal to get to. They're like, no, we got it. I'm gonna tear that shit down. And I'm gonna build some shit I want. So you spent $850 just to get the lot of land. Fuck the house. Now I'm going to spend money to build my house.
Well, you know what Arnold did? He lived in the Palisades.
Yeah.
He bought the neighbor and then just leveled his house and said, I want a yard.
Wow.
That's fucking
He bought like a $4 million house and just fucking leveled it.
That's wow. That's fucking
He's like, I want the place to kick my ball. I mean, he didn't even buy it, like, move his mom in or something.
I need grass, man.
He just leveled that bitch.
Yeah.
He didn't want to have family closer. No, thank you.
That just puts it, that takes us another level.
Yeah, that's super balling.
I love
We're supposed to do
yards,
commercials, but at this point, it just feels like we shouldn't do commercials. We should just keep doing what we're doing. But I have a certain amount of week, I guess I have to do.
Run your spot,
You know what
man.
I'll do? I'll just shove them all in tomorrow. Fuck commercials. No commercials at all. I'll shove them all in tomorrow. And tomorrow we got Matt Fulcher on. That should be a badass podcast. Full charges in the house. And then on Wednesday, we got Kathleen Madigan.
Oh, snap.
Old school, all-time woman's great. I put her top 10 all-time women comedian of all time. And people say, like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't categorize men and women, like, but you do. So
yeah,
there you go. So tough shit. There's all-time black guys, there's all-time white guys, all-time drunk guys. Everybody gets all-time gay guys.
Who's on your all-time drunk list?
Stanhope #1 for sure.
Oh,
not even close. He's not even a close second. Attell's #2 when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
When Attell was in his prime and he was out there fucking hammering it on a regular. He was hammering it hard.
Oh my God.
And he's a brilliant comedian on top of that.
He has lines that are in our lexicon, like my personal one. You know what I mean? Like he had a joke one time about puppies, and he was like, "Puppies, P-U uppies," and he always said like silly shit. To this day, I still say P-U uppies.
He did an album. He recorded it at the Comedy Works in Denver.
Skanks for the Memories.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. And one of the reasons why I want to record my next special there. I I mean, I have to call Wendy and ask her if she's cool with it. My next Comedy Central special, I want to record in Denver.
That's fucking rad.
And I want to record in that little spot because that club, I don't think it seats even 300 people, right? Is it about 250, perhaps?
The downtown one is probably, I would say it's probably just under 300.
And then the other one is much larger.
The other one's a little over 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one is perfect. That one downtown. It's like the perfect comedy club. It's like literally impossible to get a better club.
It's fantastic.
Everybody's locked in their seats. The seats don't move all over the place. Like you're in your spot. That's your spot. Boom. The table's welded to the fucking floor.
Yeah.
And because of that, they've gotten all these people in, and it's plenty of room like to enjoy a show. But everyone has their own little table.
Yeah.
It's a dope setup. Wendy's a badass bitch.
She's bad, motherfucker.
She's badass.
Yeah.
And I call her a bitch with all due respect.
Of course.
I love her. She's a very nice person. She's one of the reasons why I moved to Colorado in the first place.
She knows how to run a club, man.
Well, I knew she had a real community. I was like, if I'm going to live somewhere outside of L.A. and still do stand-up, I need to go to a real community. And the thing about Colorado is they're really fucking around there. There is a lot of people there that are trying out shit. There's a lot of people there that are, there's good comedy. They're like developing their own good, real comedy.
Yeah. Way before comedy, I did comedy. That was my number one choice for college.
Really?
Denver University,
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I didn't get in.
Have you seen all the floodings there?
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, like roads washed away completely.
Horrible.
5 people dead. Hundreds missing. Hundreds of people are unaccounted for.
All
it's
my friends'
horrible.
basements are flooded. Like
Well, we saw some people on the Rogan board. They posted photos, and I saw some on CNN and some other different places. It's insane, man. It's really crazy shit. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that giant chunk of street missing. There was a video that they had online that had this giant chunk of street just wash away in front of these people, and their cars fell into it. And they were videoing like the waterfall smashing into these cars. It was like, what? That used to be a street just 10 minutes ago?
What was happening there where I feel like we knew floods were coming? Like there was like...
Really?
I thought there was like news about these floods coming. Do you remember that or no?
I don't know. I don't pay attention until it's too late. I'm like, what if there's a typhoon in Japan?
Oh,
like,
that sucks.
Yeah, there's a typhoon that's going to hit Fukushima.
Oh, shit.
They're already releasing radioactive rainwater into the ocean. What they call low-level radiation. It's a low-level
Would you go
poison.
to Japan? You've been to Japan.
I don't want to go anymore.
Because of that?
Yeah. I think that situation... Look, obviously I'm an idiot, and obviously I'm paranoid. So take those two things into account.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about what happens if, while you're there, another earthquake hits.
Yeah.
What if there's another earthquake that hits while you're there, and they get hit with another fucking tsunami? Look, that if it happened once just a couple of years ago, it can happen again.
Of course.
And I think that situation is very unstable. Like they're coming up with all these unique and novel ways to try to contain the radioactive water. Mm-hmm. Like for folks who don't understand it, and I'm one of them, but I'm going to reiterate some shit that somebody said that does understand it. What they were basically saying is you can't cool that shit down. You have to continue to pump water on it in order to try to cool that area down. It's already melted through its containment area. So the radioactive waste is already somehow or another in the ground. So there's that, and then they're pouring millions of gallons of water on that thing. Millions and millions and millions. And a lot of it is seeping right back into the ocean. So you're getting all this intense radiation entering into the ocean at unprecedented levels in mankind. There's literally never been a moment in humankind where the Earth had a spill like this, where we irradiated an ocean. Most of that stuff that's on land is much more containable. Like Chernobyl's more containable. It's a fucked up place. It's a dark, dark situation in Chernobyl, but it's in Chernobyl. Yeah. This shit is going to go over the whole ocean. It's getting out there and it's floating. And people are like, yeah, man, you're fucking, you're being a prophet of doom, and you don't even really know, and you're talking all this crazy stuff. Yes, you're right. But I might be reading like really... I'm not reading like any crazy, conspiracy news sites that are giving me this information. I'm reading like pretty much all the mainstream sites. No one is saying it's going to be okay. I haven't heard anybody that says relax about Fukushima. Everything's going to be cool.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're trying to build a giant hole in the ground, and they're going to stick these cones all around it and then freeze these cones to make a wall of ice. So they have to have all this radioactive water contained in this fucking enormous, several mile wide containment area.
Just to try to
just
do
for
something.
water, just
Jesus.
radioactive water that they're pouring on these rods to try to cool it off. Again, I don't know exactly if that's
This
how it works.
has to affect
Everything.
seafood from that area too, right?
They've already shown a 3% rise in the radiation of some fish.
Really?
And that just happened. I mean, this
But
we're talking about
and
a
then
couple
we
of years.
consume that though. So
And
that
it takes a while to get to us. It might even not even get to us for a year or so. But a year or so, they might be telling you, hey, it's probably not the best idea to go in the water. That's real. Like, you're talking about a massive spill that doesn't end. And it's going to be like that for hundreds of thousands of years. And I've had people, like, tweet me about this, and they're like, well, it's all diluted, and you have to realize how big the ocean is. And you're totally right. Absolutely. I'm probably looking at it wrong. I'm probably being an alarmist. But it's never going to stop leaking. Do you get that?
Yeah.
It's never going to stop. What might not be a horrific catastrophe today could easily be one 50 years from now if they can never get it to stop. Like, part of the reason why people aren't freaking out is because we always have this optimism about, like, human ingenuity. Is that we're going to figure out a way.
Right.
We're going to figure out a way. We're going to
Take
figure
care
out a
of
way.
itself, yeah.
We're not going to figure out a way with that.
Yeah.
Okay? The nuclear thing is a weird thing. It's a weird thing because it does work most of the time, and everybody wants to stress that. Like, listen, you're being an alarmist about nuclear power. It does work most of the time, but people have only been alive for how long? What is the agreement? Is it 100,000 years or something like that? Let's say 1 million in this form.
Right.
Let's say we've been around 1 million years. In the last 100, we've made 3 spots where you can never go again. As long as they've been human beings alive, that's how long into the future it's likely that area is going to be irradiated.
What are the 3?
Chernobyl, 4 Mile Island, and then this one, Fukushima. Those 3 spots are gone.
Yeah.
We don't own those spots anymore. The universe owns those spots.
Yeah.
Physics own those spots. The insanity of atomic power own those spots. And it's this very weird situation where nobody wants to admit that that's a striking number. 3 in the 60-plus years that it's been active, 3 places are useless. What's 1,000 years from now? You mean just take the time and do the math.
Yeah.
You can't stop it. Unless you come up with some insane new technology that figures out a way to contain that radiation, you're always going to deal with a really bizarre problem. A problem in that if you use it, you make the area around you unsafe for life forever. For 100,000 years. I mean, what is 100,000 years? You can't even wrap your head around that.
Yeah, I know.
There was no civilization 100,000 years ago. Zilch, none, nothing. Everybody agrees. Even Graham Hancock agrees. All the craziest theorists about backdating civilization, they all go 100,000 years ago. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
We were fucking throwing spears, that wooden sticks that we sharpened at the end. We probably didn't know how to use fire yet.
Dude, imagine life here 100 years ago.
Dude, there was no language 100,000 years ago. They think language is 40,000 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
It was all just
grunts and points and shit and showing by example and screaming.
There'd be some really successful comics.
Yeah, it would be like the best time ever for a lot of comics. There's no words, man. We don't even need any words.
That's
It's hard to believe that we're willing to gamble that we're going to fix that.
Do you ever read about how many? I was fascinated by how many languages go extinct like every year. Wow. There's languages that, there's obviously like the huge languages that millions and even billions of people speak, but then every year there are languages that they're trying to preserve by continuing to speak them, and people learn the language just to have it, like an endangered species. And then it just goes away. Yeah,
I saw an article recently on this guy who was like the last guy to know this language.
Really?
And they had studied this dude, and he had tried to communicate it with them, and then he fucking died.
Yeah, that's what happens with a lot of the native cultures, like Native American tribes that had a specific language, and they're like they pass along, and then it becomes like not important or not cool to pass the language, like it's not useful.
Yeah.
And then fewer and fewer people speak it. Like they found languages, I think even in South America, of like in the jungles that they thought like this group and language had gone extinct forever, and found that they're still living in the jungles.
It's I don't know anything but English, but you know Spanish. You speak Spanish fluently.
Yeah, pretty well.
Well, I've seen you talk to people.
Yeah.
Pretty fluid.
Yeah.
Especially to me that doesn't speak anything. So how much different are those two as a language? Like you have to think differently, right? That's the reason why like a lot of people who are from another country make the same mistakes over and over again, whether it's German people or
right.
Brazilian people, a lot of them make the same kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
It's because the whole structure of sentences is different.
It's true, yeah. Like like in Spanish you say something like, you say chocolate milk in English, and there you would say milk of chocolate, right? That's how you say that. Leche de chocolate. So you say, but so like if you're trying to do literal translations, sometimes the way that you would say it, you have to reconstruct it. But it comes easier to you if you're hearing it all the time. Like when I used to hear Spanish every day. I mean, for the first 18 years of my life, because that's what my mom spoke. So it becomes you realize like the way to say that it's automated. Does
it ever fuck with your English? Did it fuck with your English as a kid? Like, did you like mix up the wrong, like accidentally use like a Spanish word for it, or accidentally say something in a way that you would say English, but you said it in Spanish?
I think that came more when I was learning to speak more. Like for the longest time, my mom spoke Spanish to us, and we just spoke English to her. So it was always a two-language
That's so
conversation.
weird.
Yeah. And she said everything in Spanish. And we replied completely in English, and she completely understood us, and we completely understood her. But our speaking Spanish wasn't as good, and her speaking English wasn't as good. But then she started, my parents sent like me to spend my summers in Peru, and then that's when it greatly, like, because you already understand so much because you were exposed to it, and then you're forced to speak it. But when you're forced to speak it to everybody, it gets way better.
What did you do in Peru?
I would go to school. Like I would just, because our summers are their winters. So I have a ton of cousins and stuff. I would stay with one aunt and uncle. I can't even speak English right now.
Aunt
and uncle.
Uncle.
Yeah, and they had 3 boys that were like my age basically. So I would go there, go to school, and just fuck around. I mean, we would just, you're just 12, 13, 14 years old, just, living in Lima. And then they would come to the United States one by one for their summers to get better at English.
Wow.
Yeah, so we would take turns at each other's.
They say that's one of the best ways to improve your mind.
Really?
Yeah, learning other languages and speaking in other languages, and then also when you start to dream in those languages.
That happens.
Yeah?
That happened when I was in college. I went to spend a semester in Spain. And at that point, I already spoke pretty well, and then I started to do like college term papers in Spanish, where you're writing 20-page papers for a class on comparative economics in Spanish.
Jesus Christ, son!
And then at that point, I mean, my Spanish now is not nearly as good as it was, like the year after I left Spain, or that I was there, and that whole year after. Because it was other level. I was dreaming in Spanish.
Wow.
It was my first thoughts came to me in Spanish, because it was just so much, and it's such a high level every day.
How long do you think it would take you if you were immersed in a Spanish culture to start speaking like that again?
I think a couple years would
really?
I would be. I mean, I could go and I speak to people now in Spanish, and they ask me what country I'm from. So
they get confused.
Who's
this weird motherfucker?
Here's the weirdest thing, and I know it's funny. Like, if people who speak Spanish know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't speak Spanish. I speak Spanish like a South American, and you would know that it's probably from Colombia or Peru, that area, because there's very specific little accent details. Just like here, when someone's from New York, from Boston, someone's from Texas, you pick up even someone from Maryland. Someone even like specifically Baltimore has a very specific accent. So when you speak Spanish, it's the same deal, right? You pick up on these little details.
Right.
And people who are native Spanish speakers will go, "Oh, are you from Argentina?" to me all the time, even though I have nothing of an Argentine accent. But they do it because I look like I'm more from Argentina than I am from Peru. Isn't that interesting?
Right.
So they're associating what they see and not what they hear.
Well, Argentina is more like Spain, whereas Peru is more like Mexico.
The look, features wise, there's a way bigger native Indian population
In Peru. Right.
way more. And there's a white, like Caucasian population too. It's just a great minority. In Argentina, it's the opposite.
Didn't a lot of Nazis go down there when
To
the shit hit
Argentina?
the fan?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they did, right?
Yeah, there's and the most famous of all
Really?
extractions. The story, the house on Garibaldi Street, is about.
I like how you say that.
Yeah, like that. Garibaldi. The Eichmann.
Oh yeah.
Eichmann moved to Buenos Aires, and he was living in a house, and he had his family there, right? His wife, his kids. One of his kids told somebody in school about, like as a secret, told the girl he was dating about the truth of his family.
Oh no.
The girl ratted him out. Wow. And what Israel did, which is like considered unacceptable when you talk about the way that countries interact with one another, international standards and, treaties, and the way that we all have kind of a diplomatic process that we go about, is they came in and Jason Bourne style took that motherfucker, kidnapped him, flew him back to Israel, and was like, "We got this guy." And they were like, "What?" Like that kind of shit. Instead of trying to go about, "Hey, we want to go for a whole extradition," they came in, snagged him, brought him back.
Yeah, the Israelis don't play.
Fuck no.
No,
man.
they don't play when it comes to that shit either. Some girl it's kind of a fucked up story, but some girl was a photographer, and she had gone to the West Bank, and she took some photographs. And when she was going through Israeli customs, some of the photographs were like of spray paint graffiti, and one of them said like "fuck the Jews."
Ooh, shit.
So the dude puts her laptop down on the ground. He goes, "I'll be right back." He takes a gun, comes back, and shoots the fucking laptop.
Wow.
Shot the laptop and gave it back to her, the bullet hole in it.
Wow.
And she was like, "What the fuck? I'm a photographer. I saw this. I took I'm taking pictures of chaos." She's a Jew, by the way.
She's a Jew?
Yes, she was a Jew.
Jesus.
They don't fucking play.
Yeah, man.
Fuck the Jews. Oh, okay, we'll be right back.
Clearly there's no explaining it either. Like, nah, here's the thing. Like, they're like, nah.
They just took
it's
it.
over.
Doom, doom, doom.
That's like...
and then the guy handed it to her.
Did you see that guy do that online? The dad?
What did he do?
His daughter, there's nothing to do with like racism or anything, but his daughter was complaining about her parents on Facebook.
Oh god!
And like fucking these chores, they think I'm like their slave. They, like telling me I have to do all these chores. So the guy is like, and she had her Facebook page locked, so like her family couldn't see it. Well, her dad's like a software guy, and he was like, "You forgot like what I do for a living, right?" And he made a video. He's like, "So I saw what you said. So you think we mistreat you? You're a slave in this house? Okay, well here's your laptop. I just spent a few $100s upgrading it." And he puts it on the ground. He empties like a 45 into it.
Oh my god!
He's like, "I'm gonna put this on your Facebook page so all your friends can see this shit." Like extreme, yeah. But he was like, "Daddy, don't play."
Holy shit! He shot it in front of her?
No, he just shot it in a video so that she would see it on her Facebook page.
Oh,
like her laptop when she got home from school.
I got confused. I thought he was doing it in front of her.
No. He did it like as a a message to her that she did, so she would go online later
and see that on her own
Facebook page. Yeah,
is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, man? First of all, I don't think this guy understands. He's putting his daughter out there like that.
It's shaming her. It's humiliating her.
It's a douchey thing to do.
Yeah, it's
You're raising a human being. You don't do that in front of the whole fucking world by shaming them.
Humiliation has a really profound effect.
It does, man, and it's intense and it's unnecessary. The guy's a father.
Yeah.
That said, it's pretty funny.
It's.
I mean, I don't recommend you, but if you do it, I'll watch the video.
It's probably.
Guy's a shithead, though.
He's a shithead, but I imagine that she stopped posting shit like that.
You might not even know he's a shithead. Because part of raising a kid, I don't want to sound like Dr. Oz, but part of raising a kid is. Wow, this guy's just shooting the laptop.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah. And after that comment you made about your mom told me to be sure I put one in there for her. So that one's from her.
Oh my
God.
That's
fucked up shit.
That's rednecks with guns.
Now I'm out.
All right.
Wow. That's disturbing.
That guy's a knucklehead. That guy's a serious knucklehead. He might not even know he's a knucklehead. People think that when you're raising a child that you're supposed to, that somehow or another their development isn't your responsibility. You know, they just want you to grow up on your own. They don't want to sort of guide you along the way and explain in a nice, healthy way why what you're doing is incorrect and here's where we're really coming from. You know, and people just work. They work and they leave their kids alone. Yeah. And then when they get home, they're tired. They stick them in front of the TV. And then they wonder why this girl is ranting and raving and saying stupid shit. A lot of the reason why kids say stupid shit is just because they're getting older. They're getting a mind of their own. They think they got it all figured out yet or now. But a lot of it is also because they're being raised by morons that shoot computers. You know?
And what effect is the computer shooting really going to have long term? Like,
the guy's a moron. That's a moron move.
She's going to have a gun. You know, like she's going to think that she could just shoot laptops.
Well, she might shoot him, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that guy's a dick. That's a dick move. To not just do that, to do that's a dick move. To put it on her fucking Facebook, that's a super dick move.
Yeah, or she might learn that like the way to handle like somebody upsetting you is to shoot their shit too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
my daddy told me not to take no guff.
So
my daddy told me how to get back on a motherfucker. A 45.
Yeah,
I'll shoot your fucking football.
Yeah, bow, 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 bow. Light shit up, and you're like, wow, you're kind of the wrong chick for me.
Those wild redneck bitches. Yeehaw!
Those West Virginia girls.
Finna get some dick. Woo! You see that? The wild and
you gave me that.
That's right.
You gave me that. My favorite part of that whole movie is like one of the fucking absolute disasters of that family is like this right here. She's like, I got these Xanax, got them for like $6 a piece. Roll down the street. Sell them for $8 a piece. Little boot scooting boogie right there. Like make some money. Like this, you're selling it for $2 more.
Well, that's all you can get.
Right, but she's like, we're making cash today.
That's how we do. That's how we do.
We got $16 now, bitch.
Yeah, there's not much. There's not much room there.
That shit's incredible.
Plus, if you go to jail, like all your profits are gonna get eaten up by attorneys and your court fees. You're gonna be out of work, but they're never out of work because they're never working, which is hilarious.
That's the best part. Yeah.
When they talk to the politician, if the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, I believe Johnny Knoxville directed it or produced it or something along those lines.
His company, I think, produced that movie. Yeah.
And he just was embedded. He was embedded in their lifestyle, and you got a chance to see them like for real, legit, 100% where they are, and they're awesome. And people are like, that's so depressing.
No.
You can decide it's depressing, or you can decide it's like a human zoo that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like
there's a point you're watching that movie, and you go, there's no way it can continue. Like, there's no way there's another character after this in this family, and that's about 10 minutes in. And like,
they just keep going.
And then like an hour in, you're like, you've got to be shitting me right now. And the next guy, and then I shot him in the chest, and you're like, what the fuck?
How about that one dude who had escaped the state? He moved up to Minnesota. He had his family, and he's just sitting there. They're all sitting around drinking, going, man, they're just too fucking crazy.
Yeah, he had to get out of there.
Too fucking crazy.
Yeah, he does not belong. Like that's good that
he's
left.
the black sheep. He's the guy with a job and a family. Yeah. Like he looked like all responsible.
And he's the asshole in that family. They're like, he's a fucking asshole because he got his shit together and left.
Yeah, he's a fucking look at him. He won't sell out.
Yeah, he ain't
gonna sell out. Go ahead. Go ahead, work for your money.
But he had a story too. He had done at least one or two crazy things, I think, right? Like he did at least one.
He did a gang of crazy shit.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that this movie is ridiculous, you think we're exaggerating. You just gotta hear this woman Bobby Sue talk. If you can find Bobby Sue from Wild and Wonderful Wests. It's Bobby Sue, right? Wasn't there? Sue Bob. My name's Sue Bob. They call me, I'm the sexy one in the family. You're like, and she's being serious. They're all, she's kind of sexy in a kind of a crazy way.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It'd probably be the one you'd want.
Little mug of moonshine.
If those were your options, I think you wouldn't be too.
If you were living up there and that was your life and you're selling pills for $2 over for a living and
Sue Bob
wants to throw down, you're like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me put the possum away.
Yeah, they're fucking epic disasters.
Yeah, and no, I don't wish they were like this. Absolutely, I wish that they were really nice people who are normal. Oh, that's not the one. There it is.
When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, and
that's a woman.
I made the bukus of money. I'd bring home least $1,500 to $2,000 a night in my boot. And I've always been a sexist one in the family. I've always had comments from thousands of people.
Would you do that?
Bob. Ooh. You got to do what you got to do. If you're trapped in West Virginia and you're on a horse and there's no way out, you got to do what you got to do.
I've always been the sexiest one in my family. Jesus.
She looked like a female version of world pool champion Johnny Archer. Yeah.
Is he the sexiest one in pool?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's the sexiest one in the family.
Yeah.
Don't hate.
Yeah,
it just is what it is, man.
Yeah.
I've always been the sexiest one. Her voice is like, it makes you wonder if life is real. It makes you wonder if, like, when you see that or you see Grizzly Man or any of this, it makes you wonder, man.
That clip also lets you know, it makes you wonder if life can affect your voice. You know what I mean? Like
Cigarettes.
But I mean, like, that has, imagine the impact that's had. Her voice was not always like that.
No, it couldn't have been, right?
No way. No way, man. That is that's a lot of sleepless nights. That's a lot of being up till 5 a.m. That's 2 minimum,
pills.
like 2 packed pills. Just that's
Everything.
hard living.
What are
Hard
you
living.
talking about?
Don't be scared. Don't be scared, pussy.
But don't act like you don't think I'm sexy.
Someone
still.
sounds like a pussy. And then there's the mom.
Oh,
who
yeah.
runs everything.
Yeah.
That mom is badass. Boot, scoot, and buggy.
That's her. She's the one dealing.
What was her
Mom.
name?
Fuck, I don't remember, man. I don't remember.
Dancing?
That was a goddamn good movie. And yeah, I agree. It's depressing, but it is. It's out there. It is what it is.
I always
If
talk
you-
about Stevie. You saw Stevie?
Stevie.
The documentary?
No. What's that?
It's hilarious, but it's also like but people are like, dude, this is a bummer. I'm like, it's still hysterical.
What's it about?
It follows this guy, Stevie, who the filmmaker actually was like a big brother to him in like the Big Brother program or something, and goes back and revisits him like 20 years later.
Whoa.
And he is like, he belongs in the White's West Virginia family. You know, he's one of those guys, and he's fucking retarded. I mean, there's no other, like, do you have a Stevie clip?
This is the only thing that came up as Stevie.
Oh, really?
That's not it,
That's
though, right?
definitely
That's
not
acting. This is not
Yeah,
acting. You're
right.
talking about a real
No. It's the same guy that made Hoop Dreams. Did you ever see Hoop Dreams? It's a really good
No,
documentary.
never saw that either.
It's a really good documentary.
Yeah, I heard it was really good.
Fantastic.
There's so many films that I never get to, man.
Yeah,
I
me
just
too.
don't have the time.
Me too. I'm like married to a few of them, and then I don't really even.
There's so many out there that are so good.
Is this it?
Let's see.
Just very solitary, not involved with other people a whole lot. He grew
There
up
he is. That's Stevie.
abused and neglected. That's kind of the MO for somebody who molests kids.
There he is.
You've got to look at it really cold,
Man, that
because if you
looks like
start
that one
looking at the
comic.
human individuals, and well, yeah, he's really not that bad of a guy. Well, whenever you look at the victim, you know, the victim wasn't that bad of a person either. I mean, you've given him chances in the past, and now he's gotten himself in a load of trouble, and you give him another chance?
That guy's a smooth talker.
Yeah.
So do you think Steve's innocent?
No, because he told me what he did do. But I mean, he's
That's
already
his
going to get
sister.
enough without
I
other
think
stuff being added
he
on.
went after
Right.
his
young-
sister's daughter, his niece. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, they might call you as a witness if this goes to trial.
You know, this isn't the funniest clip, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks
Let's
for
not.
the buzz here. Let's talk about the floodings in Japan now.
not.
So here's the
not,
thing: when I talk
yeah.
about the funny stuff in this movie, before you think I'm
God.
insane, it's because of like the little things, like, you know, before it all goes down. Like he's like, they call me Snake because I ain't afraid of them. You know, they always call me Snake.
The
Like
guy with
shit-
the glasses says
Yeah,
that?
yeah, Stevie. And you're like, no one,
Before everything went down?
you know,
he says
before
that?
it gets like like before he gets arrested and stuff, and they're just following him around, and like,
Is that him on the left? Wearing that tie-dye shirt?
yes, and
Wow.
that's the kind of the shit I'm saying that you laugh at. Like you just,
Since he's over here, go ahead and get it here.
Well, your sister's discount.
Ain't much of one.
he's just a fucking
And we didn't get it either.
idiot, you know.
No.
Oh, man. Who the fuck would leave that guy alone with your kid?
Yeah, it's a great question.
What a piece of shit.
He's
Yeah,
a
no shit.
spectacular piece of shit.
Pieces of shit that molest kids, man. That's a real special piece of shit. It's like
Yeah, oh yeah.
the recidivism rate is so high,
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
they
amount
can't-
of fucked upness you
Yeah.
have to have going on to do that is so high. That's a really bad one. That's one that's really hard to forgive.
And that's too is like, you know, even when they give in to like acknowledging what they did wrong, if you give them the space to justify it, they will.
Did you hear this Dawkins quote? Dawkins got in a lot of trouble for talking about mild pedophilia.
No.
It's really weird, man.
Really? What'd he say?
Hold on. I'll find it for you. He said that as long as it's just mild touching up, that your psychology would erase it. Here, let me remark provokes outrage. Yeah, he's like your mind would protect you from it as long as it was just mild touching up. You know, it's really weird. The quote is really weird. He says that he experienced mild pedophilia in English school when he was a child in the 1950s. Referring to his early days at boarding school in Salisbury, he recalled how one of the unnamed masters pulled me on his knee and put his hand inside my shorts. He said other children in his school peer group had been molested by the same teacher, but concluded, I didn't think he did any of us lasting harm. I'm very conscious that you can't condemn people of an earlier era by the standards of ours, just as we don't look back at the 18th and 19th centuries and condemn people for racism in the same way we would condemn a modern person for racism. I look back a few decades into my childhood, and I see things like canning, like mild pedophilia, and can't find it in me to condemn it by the same standards as I or anyone would today, he said. That's interesting. Wow. I think that's kind of... it's very brave of him to say because it's very controversial, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't totally disagree with him as far as holding people to different eras of different standards.
Yes.
I don't think that he should be the one necessarily to comment on how that might have affected some of his classmates, though.
Right.
You know, when he says, like, I don't think any of us were really too affected by that. I mean, you don't know that some of those guys might have been completely traumatized by that.
And quite honestly, some people would say that he's been damaged by it. He just doesn't realize it.
Absolutely.
That, maybe that would make sense for why, he's gotten into some of the situations that he's gotten into. Some of the things that he said in the past that have been fairly controversial.
Sure.
Maybe it was about this. But people think it's like super irresponsible.
Yeah,
that's the main rub of anybody to go out there and say, "Oh, it's not that big a deal for a little mild pedophilia."
Projecting.
Well,
yeah, and not only that, but it also could almost encourage mild pedophilia as being nothing.
Of course, and then you go back to like what I was saying, where the guy that is doing this, then justify. He's like, I'm not really like it's so minor. I'm just
right now. Clearly, he's saying that this is a different era, and he's talking about a different era,
right?
And that we can't judge the people of that era today. But he's still talking about it as if there's like a mechanism to protect you,
right,
from this kind of. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry.
Okay.
I felt it coming.
Bless you.
Man, that was You know what happened? I cleaned my nose hairs out.
Yeah.
I got a little nose hair trimmer, and sometimes they get some strays up there, and you just can't resist those sneezes when they're coming. They're coming.
Oh yeah. Did you get that from Light?
No, but when I look at Light, it'll make me sneeze.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah. I knew it was coming, and I had to stare at the light.
A percentage of the population does that.
Really?
And it's called light-induced sneezing. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like, I'm one of those too, where like, and I've told people like that about it, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they have you have never done that? Never heard of that?
Because if I would be outside, I would just be sneezing all like crazy.
No, but look it up. Like, look up like sunlight induced or light induced sneezing. You'll see that like it's like you like that too. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you walk out of like a movie theater, you're like, oh shit, and like just go crazy. Yeah, every time.
So what people are saying, people are really pissed at him. And this guy, his name's Peter Watt. He's director of the Child Protection and of the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. He said Dawkins' remarks were a terrible slight on those who have been abused and suffer the effects for decades. Mr. Dawkins seems to think that because a crime was committed a long time ago, we should judge it in a different way. Watt said, we know that victims of sexual abuse suffer the same effects whether it was 50 years ago or today.
Yeah, he's probably, correct. I mean, the thing that you have to examine is like Dawkins' statement and you have to. I think you consider it case by case.
Well,
so I don't mean pedophilia case by case. I mean like the whole idea about judging people based on an era. Like,
right.
you know, to a degree, you kind of go, well, in a certain era, certain point of views were allowed. You know, but I don't know that really applies to pedophilia.
Yeah, it doesn't. It seems like that's always been a really dark thing to do. But what's really fucked up is when you go way back to like the classics, like if you go back to, you know, like Socrates was gay. Like there was a lot of guys back then that were not just gay, but took on young boys as lovers.
Sure, right.
That was very common amongst the samurai. Samurai took on young boys as lovers.
That applies to what he's saying, right? Your examples are people in... Now, this happens to be much longer time ago, but it's...
Well, it's very different when a person who's alive today, in the context of our society right now, speaks about pedophilia as if it's not that big a deal when it happened to him.
Yeah.
And someone talking about, like, almost an imperceptible difference.
Yeah.
I mean, not imperceptible, but inconceivable difference between the way the culture of Japan in the 12th century was and the culture of the United States in, 2013. I mean, they're not even the same planet.
Right.
It's so hard to... You're dealing with Japanese. They have a completely different language, different culture, and this is a long fucking time ago when people couldn't even... It took a long time to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You could get by boat or by horse, but for the most part, people fucking stood still.
Yeah.
And they developed their own culture sort of away from the rest of the world, and it's one of the more fascinating aspects about it. But when you look back, what is the common theme? The common theme in almost all these cultures is gay sex. Gay sex and pedophilia. Like they did it throughout Rome, throughout the Greeks, all the like Spartans were gay, samurais, like there was so much gay sex. Like our idea of what like sex is in 2013, like we think that, well, back then, if you got locked up in prison, you had to fuck a dude, like no big deal. No, they were banging each other. They were banging everybody.
Yeah.
Like I want to know when people like settled down and stopped just fucking guys all the time.
There was no judgment about that too.
None.
So that was like, hey man, dick's hard. You got an asshole. Let's do it.
Well, it's almost like it was too hard to get laid back then.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you just had to do what you had to do.
I got to imagine that if you go back far enough, a lot of sexual behavior went unchecked. It was just, you were just acting on it.
Yeah.
You went into whatever sex act you wanted, desired that like your fucking monkey brain was dictating, and you didn't really think about how, like the way that your culture looked upon it. People just did stuff, right? And then that was it. And there was no, I'm going to talk to somebody about you made me uncomfortable today. like you just did whatever you wanted to do. And there's no HR department back then.
In that way, like unchecked civilization like that clearly is a different form of civilization.
Yeah, it's a different world.
It's Wild Wild West type shit.
Oh yeah, to the fucking umpteenth power though. When you talk about hundreds of years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, when you get really
Viking
really dark,
shit. And
or the all of ancient Europe.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Lady Bathory? You ever heard of this fucking evil bitch?
No.
Elizabeth Bathory. She was a royalty in 1560 in Hungary.
Yeah.
And this bitch killed, like, they don't even know how many women. She started getting, as she got older, she started killing younger women. She didn't want them around looking pretty, so she would cut them up and torture them and kill them. And she killed hundreds of them. Hundreds of them.
You were a pretty bitch?
Man. And they didn't even kill her. When it was over, they convicted her and put her in like a room for life. They just locked her in this room.
Hungarian.
Yeah, well, she was royalty.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that she was royalty, they just decided not to kill her.
Yeah, the level of brutality when you go back for it, like you ever read about Vlad the Impaler?
Yes.
I mean, he would impale enemies and people in his camp who didn't, like who he heard spoke against him.
Yeah.
And to impale them, and he would do it. And sometimes when you were impaled, it could go right through a vital artery or organ, and you'll die. But there's a lot of times when you can get impaled, it can literally miss every vital artery and organ, and you bleed out impaled just in the sun for a day.
Holy shit.
With a fucking wooden rod up through your asshole, going through your body and coming out like your shoulder or mouth. and you're just bleeding. I mean, it's a pretty gruesome way to go.
Oh my God, there was
Talk about a bad set.
There was, I think it was in Persia. Steak in Persia. Hold on.
Did you see this picture of
There's a
Mayweather?
story. There's a story about these people back in the Roman days where there was like miles of bodies on stakes
Yeah.
to warn people as they approached.
Mm-hmm.
So as these people approached, I need to find the
Oh, my
exact
God.
story. But as these people approached, I guess they were approaching Persia. They had miles
Of
of
bodies.
bodies on stakes to let you know, like, you're coming in here and trying to fuck with us. This is what we're going to do to you.
Yeah, and you'd get that stench about 5 miles before you saw it, you know? You'd be like, what
Yeah.
is that smell, man?
But just the
Are
idea
there cows
that
around
people
here?
would do that they would just run rows and rows and rows of bodies.
Do you think that the only reason that doesn't go on today is because there's like that morally checking thing? Or
Yeah.
because that would suggest that there's like way more either acceptance of that behavior or there's just like crazier sociopaths just running shit all the time, you know?
Well, I think
Which there probably are today.
I
still,
think
too.
it's way they're way better at like hiding the more fucked up things that people do today, and
Right.
that would be like way out in the open.
Yeah.
You know, like it's the situation that's going on right now in Syria, where everybody's saying that this is the most important thing, that we have to step up and we have to go and we have to attack Syria because Syria has done this thing and these people have died and these innocents are being poisoned. There's no mention whatsoever in the mainstream news of the irony of the guy who is the head of the United States, military, the commander in chief, talking about innocent people dying.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's like this idea that there's a certain amount of innocent people that must die, and those are okay.
Right.
But when innocent people die and this guy did it, then it's really bad, and
Right.
especially the way he did it.
Right.
The way he did it with poison, and we can't take that. We're drawing the line. We're gonna have to kill some more people because of that.
Right. Right.
And innocent people will die because we have to protect innocent people. So we have to go in there. This guy killed innocent people. We'll probably kill way more innocent people than 1,000.
With our, yeah.
If we went in there, if the army, the United States Army went, unless Syria just said, fuck this, and they laid down their guns and went face down and put their hands behind their heads, immediately, someone's going to die. People are going to die. It's crazy. It's like the idea behind it. It's like one of the weirdest ideas ever.
Well, the perspective you're talking about is pretty much purposely kept out of our U.S. kind of mainstream news.
But they're not even
discussions.
allowed to photograph coffins. Like
Right.
that was something that was passed during the Bush administration.
Yeah.
You couldn't take photos of coffins.
Because, yeah, sure, that would have an impact, yeah.
But how
we can kill people.
How insane is that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's okay to do that, but the reality of it should never get back home because it could weaken morale.
Yeah.
Like, whoo, you're stopping information. Like, information is critical for people to understand the actual parameters of the situation they're involved in. And if you change that information or change how much of that information gets out, you greatly alter. If you can't see evidence of it, they're not seeing bodies. They're not seeing the damage. You're not focusing on the bad stuff. You're not being accurate. Like,
Of course.
You're giving a really fucked up version of what you're talking about.
Yeah. Governments are good at that.
But that should be illegal.
Yeah.
That should be highly illegal. Like, to do that, to say to someone you can't take a photograph of something that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because that idea behind it, the weakening of morale, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Morale only weakens when it's supposed to be weakened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we were off there fighting werewolves and bodies were coming back like that, we would salute them and praise them in their quest to save the human race from the werewolves.
Yeah.
That they died nobly. We would celebrate them. We would fucking have parades for them and nobly celebrate them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what we're doing. We're hiding them. We're hiding the photos. We don't show them to anybody.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is chaos. And if you really boil it down, was it worth it that your child died to promote this agenda? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. That's not the only way it could have been done. That's crazy. To say it's the only way it could have been done is absolute bananas.
Yeah.
To
Well, I
say
hope the diplomatic strategy works out. I mean,
I hope so too. But I mean, I can't believe that we're still committed to fucking years and years of war in 2013. It just doesn't make any sense anymore.
I know. It's interesting too if you because it really is up to you to figure out stories. You have to it's interesting to go to different sites to see how they present the story, the same story.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like if you
Oh,
go, you read CNN, and then you read like if you go to Drudge to see how they report it, and you go to like BBC, Guardian, Al Jazeera, you'll get the same story reported in 6 different ways.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of decipher that you have to pick up on the fact and know that everybody has a bias, even when they don't have a bias. You know, there's built-in bias to every angle, every story.
Oh yeah,
You have to be able to break that down to whatever degree, because you have your own bias that wants to lean a certain way,
right?
And you go, "This is the story I'm going to run with, the one that this person reported."
And that's a big one whenever you've got anyone that's pushing a left-wing or a right-wing agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you start hearing about what the Democrats want to do is give everybody this, blah, 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 take all your hard-earned money, and you're like, oh, you're not even being honest here. You're just putting on this puppet show.
Yeah.
And you're probably invested in winning this puppet show or in making this puppet show very convincing.
You got lobbyists that are counting on you to get me to believe your perspective on this right now, for sure. They're filling up your pockets, man.
Yeah, what a ridiculous way to run a government. The idea that that's
so
how we
crazy.
run it.
I know.
And all this money and influence.
They're all always only thinking about their next election. Always.
Don't worry, we're thinking of you.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of all this money. All these people that have this money that got me into this position, I don't think about them. I think about people I don't know who hate me.
That's what I'm concerned with.
Yeah, his favorability rating is like Bush-like now. It's like,
is it that low now?
Yeah, it's pretty low. Yeah, let's find out. Let's Obama's. Well, I know
approval rating.
Obama's approval rating.
Yeah.
Let's. What was the worst?
The worst?
Yeah.
I bet the worst was probably. I'm gonna guess it was something like 80 years ago, and then Bush would be like second. That's my prediction.
First of all, how crazy is it that there's something called the approval ratings?
Oh yeah.
For the president. Okay, here it is. Okay. 47% of likely U.S. voters approve of Obama's job performance.
Okay, I mean that's
52% disapprove.
Okay, that's not horrific. It's definitely, it's definitely lower than it's been, right?
Well, listen to this though. 82% of the Democrats like the job the president is doing. 85% of the Republicans and 57% of the voters not affiliated disapprove.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Can you look
Democrats? That is how silly could you be to say? I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Obama. Number 2 is
no.
Number 1 is Bush.
That's the lowest approval rating ever.
It's the lowest approval ratings ever.
His lowest approval was 25.
Bush?
Yeah.
And what's the next lowest?
Do you remember when Bush's approval ratings were fucking high? Like right after September 11th?
Really high.
You weren't even allowed to make fun of Bush.
It was really high.
Truman.
See, I told you.
And then Nixon.
What was Truman's down to?
22.
Okay, this is what his approval rate is on foreign policy. 40%. Wow. That's really low, man. Ugh. I think Obama, it's just like every other thing that happens in this world. You probably go into it thinking that you're going to change it and you're going to fix it, and
did you have
a great president?
Did you have high hopes for him?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a brilliant man. You know, I just don't know how much the president honestly gets to. I don't want to even speculate on how much of an effect the president actually gets to push.
Right.
How much influence does this one human being actually have?
Do you think a lot of it behind closed doors is like, so here's what's going to happen?
There's so much money involved, man. You're talking about people that run banks. You're talking about people that demanded that they get bailed out by the United States taxpayer after fucking the United States taxpayer sideways into a point where the economy eroded radically in all businesses. These people caused this, and they still got bonuses. Okay, these people caused this, and Obama went on TV and said that we're gonna limit the amount of money that they receive as a bonus to $500,000, a paltry sum for such rich folk. Can you imagine even saying that as a statement? We're going to limit the bonuses of the companies where we have to pay millions of euro dollars.
Yeah.
We're going to limit the amount they steal to 500,000.
Yeah.
We've put a cap on it. No, go to bed.
And then
I like your Obama.
That might be one of the nuttiest things that a guy has ever said on television. We're going to limit the thieves who've ruined the economy to a $500,000 bonus. Like, oh.
Yeah, you got them good
The
now.
people that we asked to watch over, hey, you guys are the financial guys, right? Please watch over this fucking thing with numbers because I have kids and I got a job and I don't have time to do this. So do we have a guy?
Yeah.
We've got a guy. He went to Harvard. And then if you ever watch that documentary, Inside Job, have you ever watched that?
Sure, yeah.
Holy shit. And it's not about 9/11, folks. It's about the economy crash.
It's
and
unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the guy who is doing it is brilliant.
Yeah.
And he catches these dudes and corners them and asks them questions. And you see them squirm and panic. And then you find out like that a lot of these guys that were working in universities that were responsible for these studies, they would leave the universities and get these awesome jobs at the banks whose policies that they recommended promoted this sort of like free-range, wild, kamikaze, swashbuckling capitalism that caused all these fucking people to lose their homes. It causes these guys get jobs working for those firms after they leave.
Yeah.
So they're like educators, and they're like, this should be no problem. I see this should be no problem. And then they pass all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most obvious shell game of all time. It's so in your face.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really. Look, it's kind of admirable.
And it's
if you want to
over.
look at it from a gangster point of view, I mean, it's the most gangster shit ever. We glorify gangster rap.
Yeah.
Gangster rap can't fuck with gangster banking.
No, Gangster Wall Street is the most gangster shit of all time.
They've done some gangster shit.
Yeah.
And is that worse than the gangster shit that's been going on right now and from the beginning of the Iraq War? That's pretty gangster too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's this one destroys lives and financial stakes. The other one kills lives. It kills people. It destroys everything. Like, how come that is that ganking, that gangster ganking that we saw? How come that's like less offensive than this financial gangster ganking? They're both pretty gangster.
Fucks people up bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, it's madness, man. We are mad. We're a mad race.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting less mad. But we got to figure this out, man. We can't just keep doing this. We can't just keep going to war.
I've heard a lot of financial people lately say that like the worst is yet to come in a coming soon kind of way. You know? As far as like 2008 collapse, that's just going to go way further downhill.
Well, what I heard is that the commercial real estate crash is a really dangerous one.
Really?
I've heard that one's a real dangerous one. That the commercial, like once you have residential real estate crash, like that one, there's a commercial one that's much larger, apparently, allegedly. I don't understand it, though. So even me saying that is just bullshit. I don't know what keeps it up. I don't know how the fuck they rescue the economy, or did they even rescue the economy? You know, should the banks been allowed to fail? Who's right? Peter Schiff? Is Peter Schiff right? You know, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand any of it.
I don't know, man. I'm definitely not the mind to put that together, but it's pretty bad, I think.
You know what I know for sure, though? This is not the only way to do it.
Right.
This is not the only way to do it. This whole stocks and bonds and derivatives and like you guys have created fucking chaos. You have a chaotic system. And that system is fucking awful. It's like Windows NT from like 1997.
Windows Me.
And you go inside of it and start fucking with the registry and embed yourself. And like, you don't know what the fuck is in this crazy economy. The amount of influence that affects the politicians, which affects the laws being passed, which affects the judges being elected, which affects the decisions being made that literally change the entire scope of the nation.
Yeah.
And it's all motivated by money.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And the other thing that the big advantage that those guys have that work in that field is they have a specific knowledge that basically the overwhelming majority of people can't grasp. Like, not because we're not capable, we're just not well versed in this.
Right.
When people start talking about derivatives and short sales and all this, most people go, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when I said it.
That goes, but then that makes things go unregulated, unchecked. It's like when doctors have a conversation or pilots and they start getting into the specifics of their field, at a certain point, if you're not one of those people, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's not for you. And you're like, okay, except this one really affects most of us a great deal, but we don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, to me, it might as well be when people start talking about golf scores.
Sure,
he was 6 under in the 5, and like, what?
He had 2 birdies and an eagle, man.
What are you saying?
Yeah, of course.
And he took a mulligan. What?
You not a big golf guy?
No, I've never even played.
Jim Furyk shot a 59 last week.
I have no idea what that means. See? You just said it right there.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, that numbers thing is a scary one to not be to be math illiterate like I am.
I'm with you.
Quite frightening.
I'm with you. What do you think of 114? Is that a good score?
For what?
For boxing, if you watch the Mayweather fight.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That woman who also scored Pacquiao losing to
Bradley?
Yeah, Tim Bradley. That lady's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She has a different view of boxing than most people.
I got lucky, man. I had a show in Lauderdale, and I was doing it at the Improv, which is connected to the Hard Rock Casino. So I knew the fight. I was like, I'm gonna miss the fight.
Right.
Whatever. I had 2 shows. I mean, I take my time. I finish the show. I get paid. I'm just like hanging out. I walk back to my room, and as I enter the casino, and this is in Hollywood, Florida, there are a fucking extra 3,000 people in the casino. I'm like, what is going on?
Wow.
And every monitor in the casino is showing the fight. So I was like, oh, great. And it was only the end of the 3rd round, so I got to watch from basically round 4 on.
The whole casino showed the fight? That's incredible.
And everybody stopped. There were so many people stopped in between slot machines, just like looking up just to watch this fight. It was incredible to see that spectacle, the people watching it. And yeah, I mean, I watched, like I said, the rest of after the end of round 3 on, and I think even to like novice boxing people, like Floyd pretty much put on a clinic.
Yeah,
like,
it was ridiculous.
I mean,
this woman scored it even.
Even is crazy. I think somebody who didn't know what's going on, like we're talking about, would know that it wasn't even.
Well, I think that there's some crazy people out there. And I think there's also the possibility of corruption. And both of those need to be considered as options.
Yeah.
Either she's crazy and she just likes to judge shit professionally that she has no idea about.
Yeah, no idea.
I mean, I haven't talked to a single person that thought it even made a bit of sense. It's not like one of those, well, you know what? She favors defense, and the shell defense is very impressive. And he did land a couple of hard counters. Like, no. There was no one saying that. Like, this is, if you thought that he won that fight or you thought it was a draw, you're a crazy person.
The fact that your track record now includes the Pacquiao, Bradley, and this, those are both on your resume.
That lady does not pay attention.
Yeah.
Either she does not pay attention or she's crazy.
Or she's getting paid.
Right.
I don't want to say that. Yeah. You did. I'm glad Brian Redband said that and not me. Because I sometimes, Brian, I work in the presence of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and I would never accuse them of such a thing.
Right.
However, if I was an investigator, I would look into it sharply.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just something wrong. There's just something wrong, and if it's not corruption, which I hope it's not, it's just incompetence, and either way, it shouldn't be tolerated. No one deserves their job.
Right.
Especially when it's that kind of a job. You don't deserve that job. You have that job because you're supposed to be a professional at it. You're supposed to be really good at it. And when you're unbelievably, unbearably bad, is that a word? Unbearably?
Mm-hmm.
Unbearably? Unbearably, but I went unbearably. That's not a word. But she's so bad, it's criminal.
Yeah.
It's criminal. It's like me teaching Spanish lessons.
Right.
I don't know how to speak Spanish.
Right.
So if I tell you to speak Spanish, that shit would be criminal.
It would be, it's not.
That bitch is criminal.
It's not okay.
Snoop Lion weed jackpot wins pound of weed off the Mayweather fight. Oh, he bet a pound of weed? Oh, that's hilarious. Look at him with a pound of weed and a Captain America shirt on.
Yeah, he's a badass. Look at this guy.
Who did he bet it with?
It's got to say.
How much is a pound of weed these days?
I don't know.
Oh, a Mexican guy named Lou.
That's hilarious. I've never had a pound of weed in my life.
No.
It's about $4,000.
That's insane. I've never even had more than an ounce. Like, I don't want to carry a lot of weed around.
No.
I don't understand that.
I've seen a quarter pound QP.
If I saw a bag that big, I would assume the next thing I'm going to hear is boots, kicking the door
Right.
and get on your fucking. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm a comedian, I'm not a drug dealer.
What's scary in Ohio, allegedly my dealer growing up in college, that's how much he would have.
Oh
and
my
so in
God.
Ohio, that's scary because like he would have like 3 pit bulls, 2 chows, and just like you'd come into this house and like with all these crazy dogs, you just pull out this humongous bag and put it right there. And he like trusted me, so he like showed me all the shit he had and like all the secrets, like pounds of weed that he has like hidden everywhere.
God.
It was crazy.
I know a guy
I grew
out
up around
here-
that shit. Scary. It's so weird.
A guy
It's
out
so
here
scary.
had, who dealed out here had like a big SUV, like an Escalade, and he had compartments built in there, where the way it was rigged was that the radio station had to be tuned to a certain channel, and that would unlock. Then he would be able to unlock the compartments. So it had to be like on 91.7, and then he would go click click. And
That's
the shit-
so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That's to transport. Like,
Do you know that a guy went to jail for a long time because he was constructing those?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he went to jail for like a real stretch, and they accused him of aiding and abetting. Somehow or another, they set this guy up. Okay,
To build like hidden compartments?
Yeah,
Wow.
hidden compartments jail.
Check this out.
Did you ever? Oh, here we go.
Here's
It's one of my mods. This has to do with a CD drive and a secret compartment, one of many of my inventions. And I know they've used CD drives before, but not in vehicles, and as far as to my knowledge, and not like this. And what I've done is, this is a key.
Oh, it's
I know
a
what
battery.
you're thinking, it's a battery. Stick your tongue to it, it would zap you. Don't do that, stupid. Anyways, and these are 2 taps. It is really a 9-volt battery, and the power supply goes through this to open up my vent, which reveals my secret compartment. And I basically took the CD drive apart, used the bare basics to it.
No, this is dope.
Little extra
Keep it
cash,
playing.
spare change,
How did he do that?
stick, attached it to it and whatnot.
So he pushes
And the
this
end result is
battery.
simply
It's just a regular 9-volt battery he's holding up. He puts it right there. Oh, that is so dope. Come on, that guy's James Bond.
Nice
It's
place to
awesome.
keep, your wallet, your keys, little extra cash.
He
spare
said, "Oh,
change,
you know your wallet." I thought he said Pinot. You're keeping Pinot Noir.
Keep a glass of Pinot.
I keep a glass of Pinot. Always ready. Glasses chilled. You know, when bitches step into my '79 Impala.
Anyways,
Another one, a
First,
glass of wine.
close it and open it a couple
click it again for
times.
the Syrah.
and then it closes. That's so
That's dope.
wild.
Oh, so you flip it to go in and flip it to go out.
That's
so,
insane. You change
Come on.
the battery. That is
rad.
insane.
I know
That-
what you're thinking. Damn. Inspired by Superboy.
That's
I was thinking, damn.
yeah, that was awesome, man. That was awesome. Did
That
you ever
guy-
see
he's
The
a
French
bad
Connection?
motherfucker.
You've seen it, right?
Yes, man. But it
Love
was
it.
so long ago. That was Gene Hackman, right?
Yeah, it's a fucking awesome movie, man.
I don't know. I don't remember a thing about it. I remember it was awesome, but
Go
I
watch
have
it
to watch
again.
it again.
It's
It's
so
about
good.
heroin smuggling, right?
Yes, and it's so good. It's like a classic, cop and bad guy movie from that era. So I think it's a late '70s movie. It's so good. You seen it, Brian?
Mm-mm.
You got to see it.
Okay.
Is it about like something like this, like drug smuggling?
Yeah,
How they do it?
absolutely. It's a heroin. Yeah,
This is the guy I was talking about. His name is Alfred Anaya, and it says he was a genius at installing secret compartments in cars.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were used to smuggle drugs without his knowledge.
and now he's in trouble.
If they were used to smuggle drugs without his knowledge, he figured it wasn't a problem. He was wrong. And it said they locked him up, man.
Wow.
He lived in the valley, and he would set up these compartments, like in the truck's back seat, the truck's back seat, where he rigged up a set of hydraulic cylinders that linked to the vehicle's electrical system. And the only way to make the seat slide forward and reveal its secret was by pressing and holding 4 switches simultaneously. 2 for the power door locks and 2 for the windows. So he would press all 4 of those at the same time, and it would open up the back seat.
So awesome.
Yeah. And he said the seal was no longer responsible to the switch combination, that no amount of jiggling could make it budge. He
Wow.
pleaded with the guy to take a look.
You know, this is how Bieber rolls. He's got like the most high tech one ever, probably. If
Bieber?
Yeah.
yeah, Because they pull that motherfucker over all the time, and like there's never has anything in his car, but yet like TMZ always has pictures of him like holding bongs out windows and dumping out water into the street.
So they set this guy up. Listen to this. The guy's name was Anaya, right? And so there was this dude named Esteban, and he was saying that the switch to the combination doesn't work anymore, and no amount of jiggling could get it to work again. And so this guy shows up to fix it, and he's a little suspicious because there's nothing illegal. He says there's nothing illegal about building traps, which are commonly used to hide everything from pricey jewelry to legal handguns. But the activity runs afoul of California law if an installer knows for certain that his compartment will be used to transport drugs. So if the guy told him that it's going to transport drugs, then he has a responsibility to either call the police or not build it or what have you. The maximum penalty is 3 years in prison.
Jesus.
And so this guy, Anaya, the guy who got arrested, he thought it was wise to deviate from his standard no questions asked policy before agreeing. So he suspected this guy. And he said, there's nothing in there I should know about. Is there? Esteban assured him that he needn't worry. Oh, so this is fucked up, man.
So he's saying, don't worry about it. Like,
yeah.
So the guy didn't give in to saying, hey, I'm going to use it for this. And then the guy goes, all right, I'll build it for you anyway.
Yeah. Well, this is weird, man.
Why would you lock that guy up?
They fucking set this guy up because this guy was making compartments for people but not asking any questions. That's what it was. But I don't think that's illegal. I think you're allowed to hide shit because you can, what if you have money? Do you want to leave, something expensive?
Yeah, what if you own a jewelry store?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, if you have expensive stuff on you all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to hide that.
You own a business that's a cash business. You want to transport
Yeah, you
cash.
can't assume that if someone can hide something in their home, that they shouldn't be able to hide something in their car.
Of course.
That's your property, too. There's that weirdness of, like, searching people's cars, man. Because you don't come to a person's house and search their house. Like, why are you searching their car?
Yeah.
Like, you because you know that people transport drugs and things with their car. But at the end of the day, it's fucking private property.
It's private property,
and whether
of course.
there's $1,000 in cash in the backseat that you're going to steal from us because you think that we're buying drugs with it, that's happened before. Where people, like, there was a stripper who had like $1 million in her trunk. This crazy bitch made $1 million and was going to buy a business. And she had this money. She got arrested, and the cops had to give the money back to her because they suspected her of being a drug dealer. And then she had to document all of her pay.
All her hoeing?
And show all documents.
Yeah.
Oh, hoeing, man, just doing a little stripping. My girl like to shake that ass. But the cops took that money as if, like,
Crazy.
you can't have money. If you have money, it has to come from drugs.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah, but why can't you?
course.
Don't people have houses? How do they buy a house?
Yeah.
Who's to say you can't just go to a guy with a fucking trunk full of cash and buy a house? You can,
Yeah.
just because everybody else uses a fucking credit card. If you decide you hate credit cards, you want to store it all in a safe in your house. Well, and I only know the combination. Does the cop have to look in there and see if there's anything wrong? And if he sees that there's money in there, hey, what are you doing with all this good stuff? What are you doing with all this stuff that everybody earns?
Yeah, why do you have to declare? I was thinking about the border thing. I mean, I assume that you have to declare money so that they can investigate.
Yes.
What's the source of that money? What do you have that money for? But there's this whole thing you have to declare if you have over 10,000. Let's say going into Canada or coming back in the United States, right?
Right.
What if you have a lot of money? And
right.
Why do I have to explain to you that I don't have this problem?
Right.
But I've thought about it before. Like we're like, obviously they're asking so that if somebody does like, they don't say they have it, then they do. Then they find that they have 15,000 in cash. They're gonna be like, why do you have this much cash? Well, because I do.
I wonder if you have to, like, when you report it, how does that work? If you have to report that, like, so let's say you're some crazy baller type character.
Yeah.
And, you're like, who would you be? Like, if you were going to be a baller type character, you have to be a black guy, right? Who would you be? Which rapper would you be that walks around with suitcases of cash? Let's say you're Floyd Mayweather, because he would walk around with suitcases full of cash.
Absolutely.
Why can't Floyd Mayweather, they probably wouldn't let him in Canada because he's got some domestic violence charges.
That's right.
Jail.
He did his 30 days or whatever.
They might not even let you in, because Canada's pretty strict about letting you in for
don't
shit
fuck
like
around.
that. They don't fuck around. But if he did get through, he probably would get through like $100,000 in a backpack. Some Gucci sack or something like that.
Absolutely.
Did you see the All Access for him and Canelo?
No, I didn't.
Dude.
I've watched them before, but I didn't see it this time.
He sends one of his girls to go pick up some of his gambling money that he won. She goes in this like ostrich skin. I don't know who the fuck makes it. Some super expensive bag.
Yeah.
And the guy puts $480,000 in the bag.
Wow.
And then she walks it out of there, gets in her car, and drives it to Money Mayweather.
Hey, Floyd.
Yeah.
Drives
it to his house.
Here's what you won on Duke.
Do you know how crazy that is?
Duke, Maryland. That's insane.
He's gambling that kind of money.
Oh yeah. I mean, he always he takes photos of his betting slips.
Crazy.
I know.
He's crazy. It's $480,000 he won.
And they're not even like sometimes his bets are like these like kind of side bet, like prop bets. They're like where it's like, I'm betting on who's the first to 12 points in this basketball game. You know what I mean? Not even like the outcome of the game. Like he's betting shit like that, where it's a total just gambling rush kind of bet where you're like, I'll put 25 grand that it's the 76ers.
Well, you want to know what's interesting? They have found a direct correlation between head trauma and addiction to gambling.
Really?
Yeah, I brought it up to Dana White because Dana White was in here, and Dana used to be a boxer, and Dana was talking about his gambling. Like Dana gambles like insanity.
He does?
He won $7 million one night.
What?
He lost $1 million. That's the most he's ever lost is $1 million. The most he's ever won is $7 million.
And is it gambling always on like on sporting events? That's what he likes to gamble on.
I don't know what I think he's playing cards.
He won $7 million.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't even remember.
I mean, he goes off.
Is it poker?
I don't know. I think he plays blackjack. I don't know what the fuck he plays.
I went into that room.
Blackjack.
I went into that high stakes room. Once I saw a guy, and people stopped to watch him to do blackjack. He was doing 10,000 a hand, and we were all like, "Oh shit, that's 10 grand!" And they were like, "No, like bust, take 10,000." He would put 10,000 in chips back there, and it was. I mean, it was super entertaining to watch, but I was like, I can't imagine doing that, man. I can't
freaking
imagine
out just
it.
talking about it.
10,000 a hand. And it goes like that. I mean, it is gone in seconds. And so Dana must do it that style where it's like 25 grand a hand, that kind of shit.
Oh, yeah, that's really unique with gambling. You know, the gambling for like money, like in Vegas type gambling, is that you can it can shift within seconds. At least if you're gambling on a game, it's a whole game. You have 1 hour for this game to take place.
Yeah.
I kind of like gambling on games because I don't even like sports. But if I had some money invested, like it would make it more exciting.
It absolutely does. It has that effect to the umpteenth degree. It's
like if I go to Vegas, like say if you and I went and there was some kickboxing going on, because they're doing this new thing for Spike TV. It's Glory. Glory is this super high level kickboxing league. It's like the best kickboxers on the planet Earth, and it's the fights are incredible.
Yeah,
like Gokhan Saki and Daniel Gita and Tyrone Spong. These guys are fucking assassins. Right.
Yeah.
I would like to go see that shit live. And if we went to see that shit live, and we were ringside, we're gonna bet some money, Tommy Buns.
Now, would you bet based not knowing anything about the guys? Is that how you bet?
No, I would never do that.
You would bet?
I would if I wanted it for a goof. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
No, but let's say not for like if we're talking about this particular. Would you know about the guy? Like, do you know those guys? Who they are? Okay.
Yeah, the highest level guys I know. But there's so many more kickboxers than there are MMA guys. There's a lot of MMA guys that I don't know.
Really?
There's a certain number where you can only like keep so many in your brain.
Yeah.
You know that there's. Like they say, like close friends or people that you're in contact with on a regular basis, you have 150 names
that you can kind of keep going. Yeah,
yeah. It's the 150 people that you have relations with. Everything after that is just like,
yeah,
you know. I don't
but
know.
you have a lot of, I mean, like you in particular store a lot of data about guys fighting, who they've fought, and you remember the fight, where they fought, how he won that particular fight. Like that's a lot of extra knowledge.
Yeah,
right.
But,
Sitting in there,
but that's because there's nothing else in there.
Right.
There's no other sports in there.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's no room. There's no room for hockey.
Yeah.
There's no room for basketball.
Yeah.
So all like when I start talking about like fights, like he lost to Igor Vovchanchin, he got KO'd in the first round, came back, fought a few times, but we never really saw him again.
Yeah.
There's no basketball in there confusing me.
I see what you mean because I'm kind of that to a degree that way with college football. Like I have a lot of data in there, and I remember names, and I remember games, and I remember the year.
Well, that's way more numbers.
And the crazy thing is like, well, sometimes I'm amazed that I remember who recruited the guy.
Whoa!
And what high school he went to. That's pretty crazy.
Well, that's Hunter S. Thompson's famous story about talking to Nixon. Have you ever heard that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude. He spent time in a car with Nixon.
Really? Hunter S. Thompson did?
Yeah.
Before he was president?
No, Nixon was president.
What? Oh, wow. Okay.
And he rode with him in a car, and Nixon and him just talked football. He knew that Hunter was a football fan. He goes, I'll let you ride with me if we only talk football. You know, because football fans love to talk football with other football fans. And Hunter was a huge football fan, so he got in the back seat with Nixon, and they talked about football. He said he was amazed that, like, he knew about one guy who played 1 year with one team, and he knew where he went to college. And he was like, I was blown away. He's like, he's a real legit. He goes, it might be the only thing that he didn't lie about.
Didn't Hunter kill himself after football season?
Yes.
It was, right? He was like, he waited for like Super Bowl and all that, and he kills it like in February or something.
He had been apparently talking about killing himself for a long time.
Yeah.
He was in some pretty serious pain.
Yeah.
He had hip replacements, and on top of it, the boozing and the coke, he had just redlined his brain.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to Hunter, like, later in life, pull up Hunter S. Thompson on Conan O'Brien show. It's really sad. And this is coming from someone who's a huge Hunter S. Thompson fan. And so, in fact, my favorite all-time documentary, if I have to tell people one is a goof, I always go with Grizzly Man, because Grizzly Man was hilarious to me.
Do you mean Letterman?
What did I say, Conan?
Yeah.
No, Conan.
I don't see a Conan.
There's one, trust me, because he's much older when he's doing the one on Conan.
Grizzly Man, you find hysterical.
It's hilarious. I love it. I watched it again last week. I've watched it 100 times. But Gonzo, the life and work of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson is fucking brilliant.
Really?
It's an amazing, amazing,
I
amazing
should watch
documentary.
I should watch that.
You can't find it, dude?
There we go.
Hunter S. Thompson.
It's just a bad copy.
Listen to him talk. You barely understand him.
You can't even hear that.
Go to the one where they're at the desk. If you go further back, he's sitting at the desk with Conan, and they're talking, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
You can't put together what he's saying?
You don't understand a word he's saying. He's mumble, slur, mumble. But then if you go back to his early stuff, you go back to the documentary. It's absolutely brilliant. It's when he's running for sheriff of Aspen, and they start, he starts talking about the laws that are in place today and why it's engendered this disrespect for law enforcement officers, because they know that these laws, like especially marijuana laws, are bullshit. Cops know they're bullshit. The kids know they're bullshit. Yeah. And he was like, we got to put a stop to this, or there's going to be a revolution in this country. And like, it's pretty fucking intense, man.
Loosen this up. Yeah.
He does a shot.
I'll throw up. Private right, eh? Whoa. I'd say that was pretty good. That's beautiful.
Horrible
Wow. That was good. Very good. I'm going to come live with you for a month. We need the umbrella, some whiskey, and we need a machine gun.
Joe, remember when we fired those?
Yeah, in Arizona. That was awesome. We went to the Arizona Gun Club. Is that what it's called? Phoenix Gun Club?
Something like that, yeah.
It was amazing. Those things are insane. Yeah, we fired some crazy-ass machine guns. They're fun, man.
Yeah.
I need to get a place where I can shoot guns. That's what I need next.
It's so much fun to shoot a high-powered
But the problem is, whenever you get a big piece of land that you can shoot guns on, they assume you're starting a cult.
Yeah.
What do they do? Well, they go up there and they just shoot guns. Yeah, but in California they do.
And then sometimes there's stuff that you need to shoot with a gun, which is another problem,
I don't want to go to Ohio. They think I'm gay.
Why?
Yeah, because they're number one.
Look what
they're
it
number
produced.
one now. If all of a sudden
Columbus.
I start moving there, it's kind of weird that you guys are both from Columbus.
Well, there's more barns and basements to fucking in Ohio. That's
Hey, easy.
Too sweet.
Is it a prison type thing where there's just not as many girls?
I don't know.
Is that what goes down?
No, it's
dumb.
Creepy.
I think those guys there would find you guys irresistible.
I think they're just smart. They figured out how to start their own community in West Hollywood. They figured out how to start their own community in Columbus. You know what doesn't happen like that, though? Lesbians. Lesbians don't really form very many lesbian neighborhoods.
I guess not. I don't really think of, I don't know, right? I don't even know of one.
Not really. I can't think of one.
I'm
sure they exist, yeah. I can't think of one. Gay people have a whole islands. Fire Island.
Yeah.
What?
Dudes take over New York.
It's almost all gay.
Fire Island, it's gay.
It's like 98% gay.
Yeah.
And then there's a few hangers on, some old people that don't know what's up.
Oh, the lesbians
the neighbors
have,
are strange. They wrestle.
Lesbians have the Dinah Shore get together, right?
Well, there's a lot of lesbian golf pros.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. You know what else? Pool.
Really?
Yes. High level women, professional pool players. A lot of
gay.
them.
Softball.
Not all of them.
Softball
Quite
players
a few.
too.
Really? Softball?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what is it about girls and sports that make them gay?
I guess there's the natural association, right?
Right now, there's girls all over the country that think we're serious.
I know.
It doesn't make me gay, you fucking faggot. Asshole.
I mean, you look like a guy and you play like a guy.
That's not what we're saying, folks. You can without a doubt, absolutely be a beautiful woman and be into sports.
Sure.
And doing sports and competing in sports. Don't get me wrong.
I saw Gabby Reese at the airport. Whoa.
That's a lot of women.
Whoa.
I did a celebrity volleyball game with her and Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Are you serious?
That's his favorite.
That's his favorite. Way back in the Dizzy.
Yeah.
It was many, many, many moons ago. And she's a big, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Making fucking warrior babies with that.
Absolutely.
And her husband's a big, beautiful man.
He
Laird? Professional surfer.
Yeah.
He looks like
rock
right
star.
out of a fucking 1950s movie about the beach of California.
The hair's like
it's amazing.
Dip down. He's fucking yoked.
Big, yoked, beautiful man.
Yeah. The two of them have pretty sex. That's some good
I'm
sex.
sure. They should study it.
Yeah.
They should study it and one day when they invent artificial people, what do you want to be? You want to be some artificial, frail, little fucking insect-like person?
I want to be
Laird and
Gabby's
Gabriella.
band, yeah.
Fucking.
Well
Imagine
put
how
together.
she gives birth. She probably just reaches in and grabs a kid. You know how strong that bitch is?
Oh, my God.
She doesn't have to scream.
And they're both
shoves it in there and
in their 40s, and they look they were together. They had the whole family together. So I was like, this family looks amazing. It was straight out of a magazine.
Someone's in love.
Gabby Reese.
Did you hear they got herpes-infected monkeys in Florida?
I believe it. I was there this weekend.
Yo, dude, Florida does not play games. Tommy Buns, by the way, developed in Florida.
That's true.
It's one of the few things good besides herpes-infected monkeys that have come straight from Florida. Tommy Buns.
That's right. High school, Vero Beach, Florida. What up?
They said that there's a fucking slew of herpes-infected wild monkeys. There's as many as 1,000 of them. Many as 1,000 of them.
There's going to be spreading a lot. There's a lot of fucking going on in the monkey world.
Yeah.
Monkeys don't stop. Monkeys don't ask each other, do you have anything I should know about before they fuck?
It's 100% have herpes. They fuck everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Monkeys fuck. Every monkey fucks every monkey. The only thing that they don't do is, chimps at least, is mother and son don't have sex. That's a common primate restriction. The mother won't have sex with the son.
But the dad?
Everybody else, the dad fucks the son.
Really?
Everybody fucks everybody. The dad fucks the daughters. They fuck cousins. They fuck sisters. Everybody fucks everybody except the mom won't fuck the sons. Very interesting.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. This is, it's just really funny how many dangerous invasive species there are in Florida.
Yeah.
When you stop and think about it. They started to find Nile crocodiles.
Mm-hmm.
They found pythons that are so big they eat alligators.
Jesus.
Yeah. And now they're finding these fucking crazy herpes-infected monkeys. There's 1,000 feral rhesus monkeys living in Florida right now, and among those scooped up by wildlife officials over the years, most were found to be carriers of herpes B. And this week, the colony was declared a public health hazard. It's believed that a small handful of the wild animals originally landed in the state in the 1930s, courtesy of Colonel Tooney, a tour operator who wanted to give the visitors a Tarzan-inspired experience of Florida's Silver River State Park. Toohey reportedly kept the monkeys sequestered on an island, but they learned to swim to shore. Wow. Easily reaching the mainland and moving out, putting down roots as far as Jacksonville, over 100 miles away. This is amazing.
And they're
they
just
got herpes.
But they're not even contained? Like they're just out roaming around, or they're contained? These monkeys?
No, they're roaming.
They're just roaming.
There's 1,000 of them roaming.
Jesus.
It says herpes doesn't cause serious symptoms in these particular animals. In fact, it's fairly common amongst them. But in humans, it can lead to neurological impairment or fatal encephalomyelitis. Why do they do that? Why do they insist on making words so fucking difficult? That shit's ridiculous.
For these moments.
Encephalomyelitis. Myelitis? I guess it's litis. No, it would be I because there's no E after T before an I. Or is there? An inflammation of the brain and spinal cord leading to death. Florida's rhesus monkeys are known to act aggressively towards people.
They're racist
They're
monkeys?
biting people. Yeah, they're probably racist. They probably hate white people.
So they bite people, and then you get
a murderous form of herpes that barely affects them. Barely affects them, but will kill you.
So
they're essentially toxic. It's very little difference between having that, and being toxic.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about something that you can give a person that will fuck them up. How's that different than a poison?
Hey, man.
Just because it's a bacteria?
Great winters in Florida. Just all I got to say.
Yeah. There's a Cuban tree frog problem in Florida too. They're really noisy. So these animals, they move into these areas, and people have a real hard time sleeping.
Oh, Jesus.
Because they're really, really fucking loud. And they're trying to find out, some of the research they've been doing recently on human beings and happiness and harmony and peace. One of the things they're showing is that we need quiet. People need quiet. It's not just, I would like to get some quiet. Now, you actually do need certain amounts of quiet. You need sleep, and during that sleep, you need to be able to rest. And if you're fucking constantly inundated with sounds, you might not ever totally rest.
Yeah.
You might drift in and out, and it could fucking redline your mind. It can really fuck you up. So these frogs, they move in. They're called Cuban tree frogs. They're in Central and South Florida. And they double the rate of their calls. Native green tree frogs. Oh, in the presence. Oh, this is so crazy. They're so loud that in the presence of them, the native frogs have doubled their rate of calls as well.
Oh, my God.
So it's just insanity. They're super loud and crazy, and then the other frogs have doubled their rate of calls because they have to try to keep up with these crazy new... They're basically Joey Diaz as a frog. It's a big, loud, crazy Cuban frog. That's insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They have unforeseen ecological effects. Tennessean says that by doubling its call rate, the green frog makes its presence more obvious, which is likely to make it more vulnerable to predation. Wow, so they're going to kill off the other frogs by making them stupid.
So they actually got competitive about the frog calls. They were like...
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
It must be sexual, right? When they make calls? What else are they doing?
Sexual, or it's territorial, about threatening my territory.
Right, and what's the territory about?
I don't know.
It's about sex.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, they're just trying to get their frog freak on.
Frog freaks.
They found the largest wild Burmese python in Florida recently, captured and euthanized. This is the largest one they've ever caught in Florida, 17 feet long.
Do you think a lot of the stuff going there, I mean, part of it is that it's made up, the place is a swamp, the state's a swamp, but then it's also proximity to where a lot of people end up going, people from the islands, right? Coming up with shit.
It's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Florida's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
First of all, you've got the highest level of OxyContin addiction and prescription on the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's Florida.
Yeah.
Florida has 10 times more OxyContin prescriptions than the rest of the country combined.
Really?
Yes.
That's a lot.
So then, okay, so you got that, right? You got this crazy number of people who are on OxyContins.
Yeah.
Then you've got Cuban immigrants, including a slew that Castro released. Castro sent out because they were prisoners. That's what Scarface is based on.
Yeah.
Then you've got the cocaine industry in Miami.
And mental patients, too.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino's from Florida?
No, he's from
he was just
PA,
he played for the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
So you got that, okay?
Yeah.
Then you've got the amount of banks that were set up with cocaine money. Whoa, Jesus. That's when you start getting really crazy.
Yes.
Because you find the numbers and you go, oh, my God, this is insane. Why are there so many banks? There's more banks per capita in Miami than anywhere else in the country.
Then you got no state income tax. Who does that attract? No income tax.
And it's like this reputation of being a place where Eastern gangsters went south. I mean, it's always been there. Like, they go south and dump bodies. They go south and hide out. They would get in a Cadillac and they would drive from New York to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my mother a nice house in Florida.
Yeah.
And then they would also, the big thing before Florida was, they would take boats or jets or whatever to Cuba. Before Cuba fell, like in the 1950s, like Kennedy would go to Cuba.
Yeah, that was the spot.
They would go to Cuba.
Yeah.
People would go to Cuba. Cuba was the shit. They would go and dance and drink, and it was supposed to be fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And then when the shit hit the fan and everybody had to flee, let's just stay around Miami. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to go here.
And Miami is basically, there's nothing about it looks like any American city at all.
It's Cuba.
Yeah, it's totally.
I mean, it's great.
It's awesome.
Miami's a great city.
Yeah,
it's a
awesome.
fun city, but it's very international.
Oh, yeah.
It's very international.
You are an asshole sometimes when you walk into a store there and speak English to somebody. Like, they literally are like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. So there's that, you know, and then it's attached to the southerly parts of Georgia, and what else? What else is it attached to?
You drive to
South Carolina.
No, Alabama.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So you go Bama, Mississippi,
and it's
Arkansas.
interesting because the other thing that's interesting is that the further south you go, the more international, cosmopolitan. When you're in like northern Florida, you might as well be in Alabama.
Oh, definitely.
You really might
And you
as
don't have
well
to go
be.
that far north.
No, you
or
do
that
not.
far central.
No, you do not.
Yeah,
Northern
That
Florida
shit
is a
country
different
as shit, man.
It's a different animal. Tallahassee,
Oh,
that
my
shit's
God.
country.
I remember when I was in high school and we would go to this place called Belle Glade. Belle Glade is basically inland from Palm Beach, right? So Palm Beach is Billionaires Row.
Right.
West Palm Beach has nothing to do with that. It's just, like poor and, it has, obviously it has some nice areas, but then you have like rednecks. And then you go further in that Lake Okeechobee, Belle Glade is sugarcane. And you could smell Belle Glade way before you get there. Like the draft, like burning sugar cane. And it doesn't smell sweet. It doesn't smell good. And you get out there and you're like, this is like an entirely different world. Like it had nothing to do with anything. It was so rural. And, it was all about the soil there, Muck City, and the place had, you would think you were in Alabama or in Georgia, some rural part of Georgia. And that was just, like I said, a couple hours in from West Palm Beach.
That cartoon of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida, what year was that from?
Looks like about 60s.
Do you think that was really what he did, or did someone create that for a joke in the new day and age?
Oh, no. That's from a cartoon.
So he really did saw away Florida?
Oh, yeah.
So was Florida where Elmer Fudd lived?
I can't remember that episode.
Why is he so hating on Florida? Was Florida shitty back then, too?
I don't know.
Where did Lucy and Ricky live? Did they live in Florida? Because he was Cuban, right?
He was Cuban.
Yeah. Was that Miami?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I love Lucy. Here we go. Isn't it funny that they're like, no one had any problem with that as like an interracial relationship or intercultural relationship? Like back then, like being a Cuban man was like very sophisticated.
Oh, right.
It wasn't like if you tried to do a Mexican and her.
Yeah.
Like people would have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Like, it was, it was okay to have it that way.
Yeah.
It wasn't even considered. I mean, not that they're different races, but Hispanic. A lot of people actually racists do look at Hispanic.
Sure.
And Hispanic people as being different than white people.
Of course.
But that back then.
Did you know that
Bugs Bunny. Why did they do that? Why is Bugs mad at Florida? That's what I need to know now.
Do you know that Desi, he had such a massive ego that
Desi Arnaz did?
Yeah, he had a real problem with the name of the show being I Love Lucy. So he was like, the show should be like,
I love Desi.
Right. But they told him, yeah, but who sang I Love Lucy? You're
he's
saying
he's
that.
an idiot.
Yeah, and they were like, and he was like, oh yeah, and they convinced him.
Oh my God.
That the show basically it's you saying it, so the show's really about
How do we know that that's true though?
It's all
but
these
the
stories.
Producer could be a
he
lying
could be saying
dickwad.
that.
They'll tell stories about you someday, Tommy Buns, and you'll be like, the fuck I said that.
I didn't fucking say that shit.
The fuck I said that. Meanwhile, okay, yeah, that was a big fucking popular show, man.
Oh yeah. I think the most watched episode of television ever is I Love Lucy when she gave birth. Everybody tuned in to see if it was a boy or a girl. Like it's crazy numbers. Wow. Insanity. Like basically most of our country watched that when that aired.
It was from 6 years, from 1951 to 1957. And then after the series ended, a modified version continued for 3 more seasons with 13 one-hour specials, running from 1957 to 1960, known as the Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Show.
There you go.
And then reruns as the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour.
My name's in that show, bitch.
Yeah, you got a little upset.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I'm not coming back. Yeah, I guess.
It was actually 1949, that Bugs Bunny cartoon.
But I think I don't know, man.
He's given credit basically for syndication.
Really?
You know
Desi Arnaz?
Uh-huh.
He figured it out?
Well, he's the one. Television used to just air live. Like you just...
Whoa.
And they would just shoot it. And then he asked for like the prints one time. And they were like, yeah, you can have the fucking prints. What are we going to do with that shit? You fucking idiot. You dumb Cuban piece of shit. And
That's hilarious.
And then
whoopsies.
A little while later, he was like, we could re-air this. And they were like, oh, yeah, we could re-air that.
That's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
Originally set in an apartment building in New York City, I Love Lucy centers on Lucy Ricardo, Lucille Ball, and her singer, bandleader husband, Ricky Ricardo, along with their best friends and landlords, Fred Mertz, their landlord, and Ethel Mertz. Wow.
Yeah, that show is...
Those shows, man, like The Honeymooners, that's a window into another time, man.
Yeah, sure.
Watching Lucille Ball, watching The Honeymooners. The Honeymooners, every week, Ralph Cramden would threaten to beat the fuck out of his wife.
Yeah.
That's true. Not just occasionally.
Yeah.
Every fucking week, he would be like, pow!
Yeah.
Right to the moon!
Yeah.
He would talk about punching her in the face and knocking her to the moon.
She deserved it.
But stop
Yeah.
and think about, like, culturally,
Yeah.
how crazy people were.
It's not that long ago.
We need to understand what a giant change has happened in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the best ways to really document it is to watch old shows. Watch what they accepted back then and watch what they accept today.
There's a newspaper article I just saw from somebody posted it, I think on Twitter, and they polled guys, it was an old newspaper article, they polled guys whether it's okay to spank a woman. And the answers, they polled like 5 or 6 guys. It was an old article, and they were all like, absolutely, like she needs it. If she's out of line and she doesn't know what she's doing, you're just trying to help her. And this was a newspaper thing where they were like, see guys, it was to make you feel okay about spanking your lady.
Yeah, I tweeted that.
Oh, you tweeted that?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I just saw an article.
Yeah, well, I might have retweeted it, but either way,
Okay.
I definitely tweeted it.
I thought that was
It was
just
hilarious.
hysterical.
Yeah, if a woman needs it, should she be spanked?
The best part about it was...
Let's read it. Let's read it.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny.
Why not? Jesus Christ. If they don't know how to behave by the time they're adults, they should be treated like children and spanked. That ought to make them grow up in a hurry. If it doesn't at first, they'll soon get the idea. This is incredible.
Get the idea, eh?
Yes. When they deserve it, as a barber, I've got a lot of faith in the hairbrush. Oh, my God. I think there are certain cases when it is advisable. When it is, there's no reason why you shouldn't go right ahead and do it. I can't knock the idea. In my business, a man sets a lot of store by the results he can get with a hairbrush properly applied.
Nice little smack. Now here's the
What
counterpoint.
does that mean though? Sets a lot of store?
Maybe
What does
that's
that
a
mean?
business term back then.
A man sets a lot of store.
Are you ready for the counterpoint?
Yes.
Okay, there's none. Everybody agrees that you
That's
should do-
incredible!
That's the best part is everybody takes the point of view.
Look at this guy, parking lot attendant from Brooklyn.
You bet.
Teddy Gillel.
You bet.
You bet. It teaches them who's boss. A lot of women tend to forget this is a man's world, and a lot of men who step down as boss of a family wish they hadn't. Spanking might help get back some of the respect they lost.
Look at Teddy. Look at
That's Joey Diaz's cousin. What the fuck, cocksucker? Listen, cocksucker, spank them if they want it. William Davis. What does William say?
He's a toy factory owner.
Yes, most of them have it coming to them anyway. If they don't, it will remind them of how well off they are. I subscribe to the theory that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Holy shit.
Whoa.
Look at him.
That's
Look at that evil looking fuck. He looks like Rutger Hauer's brother.
Wow.
Does he look like Rutger Hauer and Robert De Niro fucked? He looks evil,
Actually,
man.
he looks like that one Holtzman.
Oh yeah, he does a little like Holtzman. Imagine that guy spanking your wife. Let's hear what the other people
It's
say.
not.
That's
It's
it.
not.
That's all.
That's that.
That's
that was
it?
the last
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
Yep.
That's awful. Well, that's sort of like what Dawkins is kind of alluding to. You know,
Totally.
that you're dealing with a totally different time.
Absolutely.
And he probably didn't really get over it.
Yeah.
He's probably saying that
Yeah.
to appear, look, it's no big deal. I got over it. But the reality is that guy probably needs mushrooms and a hug.
Yeah.
That guy he's like avoided psychedelics.
You know where that came into play big time with that case, like that specific world at was at an issue was the Joe Paterno thing.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Sandusky, nobody's arguing that it was a different era. He's a rapist and a pedophile.
Right.
But people were saying that the way that Paterno handled it was just an old school guy way of doing it because he was 80 something years old. His whole thing was like, I didn't know, and my my the way of doing things when for a guy from his era was like, well, just you don't come around here anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was his way of policing that type of behavior was, and that probably was what people would do to somebody. Like you hear what Jerry did. Yeah, Jerry's not welcome here anymore. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's considered the discipline for that guy.
Right.
Not let's call authorities and it was like Jerry, he's out of here.
Yeah, Jerry, you can't fuck my kids.
Yeah, you got to go away.
Stop. That's wrong.
Yeah, you can't come to the cookouts anymore, Jerry.
Jerry's twisted fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that Dawkins, look at this guy spanking this chick.
Yeah, acting up.
Hey, can we join in? Get out of here.
Wow, he's really beating on her, man. Are they going to separate it?
Wow,
What the devil do you think you're doing? He's drunk. He's trying to grab the glass and smell it. Wow, he's drunk.
Well, the grandmother thinks it's funny.
That's the mother?
My poor darling, my darling. What a...
The grandmother's laughing. Oh, my God.
I could strangle you. I'm sorry. Don't you touch me. The nerve of you coming into my house and trying to tell me what to do and hitting me. Well, you think you're important, don't you? Well, you're not. You're a clerk. A miserable little clerk.
Wow.
It's a low blow. She didn't need to go there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she did. Maybe she needed to get spanked, too. Talking shit about the guy being a clerk.
Absolutely.
How rude.
She forgot how good she has it, Joe.
Wow, that's
She's got a good life.
That's so weird when you look at stuff like that from another time and you go, well, that's not that far ago.
No.
In terms of the amount of time that human beings have been alive, it's not that far. And in terms of the life of the planet, obviously you get back further and further and wider. It looks tinier and tinier.
Yeah.
But it's really strange. Was that a guy getting spanked? That's a girl?
Yeah.
Wow, wrestling they spank now?
Oh,
she,
yeah.
has, she has a very firm booty, too. I bet
did.
that was
Oh.
a fun spanking.
Rescue
This guy's like, I got you, baby. Can't believe you spanked my wife. He's going to go back there, and while he's banging her, she's going to close his eyes and think about that guy spanking her.
Wrestling is so silly. That's such a silly world.
What are you talking about? It's amazing. It's the best thing we have.
It's so absurd.
You mean pro wrestling. You don't mean real wrestling.
Right.
Isn't it weird that real wrestling is like one of the greatest fucking sports, most difficult sports the world's ever known, and super effective in combat, but that fake wrestling
So
is
popular.
like, it is the affront to American civilization.
It's so
it is the thing where if the aliens come down and they turn on the TV, if that's the first thing they watch, you got a real problem on your hands.
And I get that, like, someone told it's a soap opera for, like, basically for dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm
no, it's not.
I watch. I'm like, I understand it way more for like a kid, the characters and all this stuff. But when I have adult friends.
I have a lot of adult friends that all still watch it and love it. Like Sam from Opie and Anthony, fucking in love with it, and Tony Hinchcliffe. And you're just like,
Hinchcliffe loves wrestling?
He's one of the biggest wrestler guys ever.
That is hilarious.
I know a comic in Chicago, Marty DeRosa, fucking like talking about this shit. Like, did you see that shit? What are you talking about, man?
What is? How could you even get into it?
I don't know. And I tried. I realize that everybody has their. Maybe it's a nostalgia thing. Maybe it's because they liked it back then.
Maybe they don't smoke weed.
That
could be that
problem.
But all the classics, like I grew up with, like Hulk Hogan, and all of them are like dead or retired. So these new guys, it's like I don't.
But I'm just saying, like the excitement. I get the excitement for an 11-year-old, but like now when you have real sports. Yeah, and I love when the guys they get real defensive, like the guys that are in it because they're always doing their act, no matter what. They're always doing. They're like, "You don't think this shit's real? Step in the ring, motherfucker." Okay.
Well, did you ever see John Stossel get beat up by the wrestler?
Yes, because he got
That's a classic. We should
that guy
revisit
fucked
that.
him up.
John Stossel gets beat up by a wrestler.
He
got really fucked up. He ruptured his eardrums.
And his hearing and he had like long-term effects from that.
Yeah, that was really not nice.
No,
but he was
cool.
getting a little cocky with the guy.
Sure.
He could have asked him in a more respectful way.
Well, I'm not going into the ring to tell these guys that I think this shit's lame.
Who was the guy who beat him up?
I ask Schultz questions.
There we go.
Dave Schultz, right?
That guy looks crazy as shit.
Look at the size of him.
What? Is this a good business? Yeah, it's a good business. I wouldn't be in it if it wasn't. Why is it a good business? Because only the tough survive. That's the reason you ain't in it. And this punk holding the camera reading he ain't in it. Reading these rednecks out here ain't in it. Because it's a tough business.
That's terrific.
Wait, is that all you got?
I'll ask you the standard question.
Standard question.
I think this is fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake?
Whoa.
Huh? What do you mean? Hey, what the hell is the matter?
That second one, that second one is, I think, the one that did the.
Well, he, in all fairness, he was a little mouthy.
Yeah, sure.
He was a little mouthy with the wrestler.
Yeah.
Why would you? Is this a good business? First of all,
in all fairness,
sucks as an interviewer.
Yeah,
that's a sucky interview.
Yeah.
If I interviewed a guy like that, I would expect him to be upset with me too. Is this a good business?
Yeah.
Like, why would you ask if it's a good business?
It's a horrible question.
Tell me about wrestling. How'd you get involved in this? Yeah. Like, how long you been doing it? How do you respond to people that say that this is not real?
Yeah.
Not me. I'm not saying that. You got to be nice to the guy. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I think it's fake.
Yeah.
Like, why are you so cocky? Like, why do you think you could say that to a man, like inches in front of him, just to insult what he does?
It's stupid,
of course it's fake. You fucking dope. It's arranged, but it's not. They're hitting each other for real. They're slamming each other for real.
That angle that guy took is so stupid. Like, because just in life, you always size up who's in a room, right? And like, I think some enormous dudes are fucking idiots. But I'm not going to be like, I think you're a fucking idiot to your face because I don't want to get my ear fucking smashed.
Well, not only that, it was not necessary to create drama there.
No,
that didn't draw anything out.
But he had a different idea of how that was going to turn out. He thought, I'm going to ask him these questions and make him look stupid because I'm way smarter than this fucking clown.
Exactly.
And then he got his eardrum ruptured.
And, he lived, he learned.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a mustache, and he's a white guy. His name is Stossel. And he's got a giant Burt Reynolds style mustache.
And he still has it.
Does he really?
He's had that shit for that. Yeah, he hasn't shaved that. He still rocks that.
That's a fucked up thing to happen. To have a guy like manhandle you like that in front of a camera and no one gives a shit. No one does anything.
Oh, yeah. Everyone backing away from that. No one's going to save you right then.
What are you going to do? That guy's enormous.
Yeah.
That guy's he's a giant man.
Yeah.
You got a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stossel, you're not being protected.
A lot of those guys are absolute scary fucking...
Of course they are.
Yeah, they're fucking huge.
Guys like Brock Lesnar, that's an enormous human.
Yeah.
If that guy wants to beat the fuck out of you in front of the cameraman, I mean, he might get arrested for it eventually.
Right.
But like while it's going down, like no one's going to help you. That's just a fact.
Sure. The Rock is a beast too.
Oh, he's enormous.
Huge.
He's bigger than ever now.
Yeah.
He's huge now. He's like really into bodybuilding. He puts a lot of videos and tweets a lot about
Yeah.
like all the
Workouts
he's doing at like
Yeah.
4 o'clock in the morning. Lands 5 a.m. He's at the hotel.
Yeah, I saw a
doing
thing.
sets.
He said he's doing like 2 hours of cardio and then 3 hours of
He's
lifting.
an animal. He's an animal.
Total.
And then he has cheat days that he puts online. You ever see his cheat
Oh,
days?
like, yeah,
the shit
like
he eats?
fucking 100 donuts and shit.
Plates of
Yeah.
donuts, giant stacks of brownies, like
Yeah.
jugs, like several gallons of milk.
I've seen a lot of the like super athletes post sugar, like like a lot of like guys that are doing like super cross training CrossFit guys, but their cheat thing is always incredible amounts of sugar.
I think it's probably because of caloric intake. Like they probably have an extreme desire for heavy
For that,
caloric
and
intake.
that glucose kind of
Yeah.
kick in. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing like CrossFit and shit like that. Plus, also when you go with like really healthy diet on a regular for the
Mhm.
most part,
Mhm.
it's so tempting to go off the rails.
Are you still gluten free?
Yeah, yeah.
How's that going?
It's great.
You
I have
feel
no
great.
problems with it.
Yeah.
I heard Udi bread is really good bread to try, so I'm gonna try that out. And then there's apparently a gluten free bakery that wants to send us some stuff.
Nice.
That's in LA. I don't miss it that much. I tried some gluten free pasta. It tastes fine. The big thing to me is I feel way different after I eat. When I would eat bread, I would be like, ugh. And I always assumed that was just how I felt after I ate.
Right.
Because I always ate bread. I always had bread or pasta, like always. And then when I stopped, it was like, oh, like I was being poisoned essentially.
Is it
like
hard-
slowly,
Is it hard to do gluten free when you travel? Like, is it harder?
It's harder, but when I say poison, obviously I'm being melodramatic. But what
Yeah.
I really mean is that your body doesn't digest that shit well. It takes a long time. It feels like shit. It feels weird. And it's breads. It's breads and pasta. When you eliminate that stuff, it eliminates a whole level of after meal crash. Like there's still a bit of an after meal slowdown. Like I won't have a big meal and then go on stage for that very reason.
Sure.
I wouldn't want to have a steak and potatoes and then run right up on stage. But the difference between a steak and potatoes and a steak, potatoes, and pasta is significant. Steak, potatoes, and bread is significant. That extra level of fucking coma that you go into
It's
when you
super
eat the
different.
pasta, it's
Yeah.
gone. That level's gone. I don't get that level
Can you
anymore.
still have potatoes?
Yeah, you can have any carbs.
Oh, any
You
carbs.
could have rice.
Yeah.
It's the idea is all bait. Like some people say it's hooey, and it might be a little hooey. It's psychosomatic. I don't think it is. I think there's enough people that are pointing to some research that's been done on it that it makes sense. And there's also research done on actual wheat itself. That wheat itself, apparently in like the 1960s, they altered it, make it a little tougher so it could survive pesticides and bug attacks and shit better. And when they did that, it made it much more difficult for people to consume than the old school wheat that people had been eating for thousands of years.
So essentially, I don't know shit about it. Is you're just getting rid of wheat, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
So breads and even
Pasta.
some alcohols because it's a lot of alcohol.
Beers, right?
Yeah, but not Heineken. Heineken,
Really?
which I drank anyway, is gluten free. But like that stuff that I love, that Black Butte Porter, that's got tons of gluten in it. There's a lot of gluten-y beers. There's a lot of gluten in like things like clam chowder has gluten in it.
Okay.
It's a lot of stuff like you wouldn't expect, like powdery.
Did you? You're just always reading about it now. To,
Yeah.
To find out what you can eat.
Yeah, I just completely quit. I just stepped back and said, well, let's see. If it's worth doing, I'll do it. And if it's not worth doing, if I don't feel any different at all,
Yeah, then
I'll go right back.
But you feel great.
But I feel a difference. There's definitely a difference. There's a book called Wheat Belly that I still haven't read, but a lot of people point to that as being a good source of information as to why there was a change in wheat itself. And what they're saying is that whole grains of 2012 are not the whole grains of 1950. The 19th century, the Bible, pre-biblical times, modern wheat in particular is genetically distant from its predecessors thanks to extreme genetic changes inflicted on wheat in the 1960s and the 1970s in the name of increased yield per acre. Oh, okay. So the healthy whole grains have been repeatedly shown to reduce risk in diabetes, heart disease, and colon cancer. It's true, but if whole grains are compared to processed white wheat flour, it's guilty of the kind of flawed logic that dominates nutritional thinking, blah, 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 blah. So apparently the grain that people used to eat is a much better tasting wheat.
Yeah.
Or a much better for you wheat, but it just doesn't. We don't have it anymore. Wow.
So you eat a lot of protein, though?
Yeah, I eat almost all protein, like fish or chicken or meat or and a lot of vegetables. And I still eat potatoes and I'll still eat rice. But there's a difference in the way I feel. I just think digestion-wise, I think there's an issue with resources. I think when you're eating wheat, one thing that's happening is many more resources that are used for other things are used to digest it. It must come down to like what it is. When you think about a plate of pasta, chew that shit up, mash it up, swallow it, and then pack it all together. It's glue. You got glue. You got a big wad of glue.
Yeah.
You know, whereas your stomach acids are sort of designed to digest other things like vegetables and meats, and I think it's a grind, man. I think, and this is obviously coming from someone who's not that nutritionally sound. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think it would just make sense. And then once I noticed it, I just
Are you still doing dairy?
I try to cut way back, but I still like it. I like chocolate milk. I like ice cream too, but I cut back. But it's still delicious. When you don't, I don't eat cereal anymore because the gluten-free cereals are not that yummy. You know, I like Raisin Bran. I haven't found a gluten-free Raisin Bran.
It's possible.
Yeah, I don't even might exist, but I haven't found one yet. So I stopped with my cereal. I eat cereal like sometimes late at night.
Yeah,
it's like my my cheat meal.
Yeah,
in front of the TV, I get a big fucking bowl of Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Oh yeah,
go off, son. I cut that shit out entirely. So I don't really have as much milk.
But there's a lot of like companies now that just cater to the gluten-free, right? There's always new things coming out.
Dude, milk and cookies are another one I miss.
Yeah.
I used to get these Uncle Eddie's vegan, whatever the fuck it is, cookies. Is that what it is? Uncle Eddie's, I think. These vegan cookies from Whole Foods. They're so good. Peanut butter and chocolate chip. Hey, listen to me. If you're still eating gluten, don't pass up on these. Please go get them because they're the most delicious thing ever. These vegan chocolate chip cookies, the oatmeal chocolate chip with a cold glass of milk, I would eat those until I felt sick.
Trader Joe's made a crazy vegan chocolate chip cookie too. Really good.
They're so good. I don't know why they're not. They don't taste bad because they're vegan. They taste fine.
Is there a gluten-free version?
Well, I think vegan's just lacking the eggs. I don't know what they bind it with.
But I mean, is there one that you can get?
I haven't seen one.
You haven't
I've seen chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
that are gluten free. They were pretty good.
Pretty good.
They can't fuck with those oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Those are incredible. I would go pick them over non-vegan ones.
Oh yeah,
that's how good they are.
Yeah. No, I always thought that for me the TJ ones were amazing.
I would sit in front of the TV, like say if I was watching a really good movie, and I would eat a whole bag of those fucking things. It was probably several thousand calories. a giant glass of milk.
I love. There's so many times I've just been decadent, but when you hear about how many calories some people can consume,
like a Michael Phelps type dude,
that's just so fucking
it's
awesome.
Insane.
I want to watch him eat so badly while he's training.
Just watch him eat.
Yes, I do. I want to
Pants
see
off.
Yeah, I mean, they said
Wearing
too
a
that
mask.
workouts are so intense that
Yeah.
his get going first thing of the day might be a few bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
And then everything goes down. It's like, all right, you're in the pool, and it's just training. It's get out, and you eat like a bowl of pasta, that's enough to fill 5 people's stomachs.
Yeah, I think he probably blows off so much insane energy.
It's not even. Yeah, it's got to be.
You can't even wrap your head around that.
What kind of shits is this guy taking? For real.
It must be thunderous.
All the time.
Number 6?
It's got to go somewhere. It's got to be number 6's.
Yeah, number 6.
What's a number 6?
On the Bristol stool chart.
What is the stool chart?
It's how they rate your shits. So 1 through 7. 1 and 2 are you're grinding them out. They're pretty difficult.
Most of my shits are not impressive, but every now and then I will give birth to Godzilla.
Well, is it a nice slider?
Oh, yeah.
That's a 4.
Slider's a 4, even if it's giant?
That's what you want. Yeah, even if it's giant. And then
What's
5
a 6?
6 is really sloppy, lots of little pieces. You blew it out your ass.
Blah.
Yeah. And then
that happens as well.
7 is all liquid. No.
Are these bad or good on the scale of good
You want
to
3
bad?
and 4s. That's what you want.
3 and 4.
3 and 4 is where it's at.
3 and 4 is where it's
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
3 and 4. I'll tell you what, man. A really good shit that you've held in for a while is incredibly pleasing.
Oh yeah.
Like if you've been holding it in. Fuck,
Yeah.
I gotta get to the toilet. Gotta get to a toilet. And finally, even if you're in a public bathroom, you sit down, you just and it's so good that it doesn't bother you that you're taking a shit in a public bathroom.
Yeah.
You just unload that dragon right out of your ass.
Yeah.
Just swims out and destroys.
There's really no feeling
Whoville.
like it. There's really no feeling like it.
Number 6s are fun though, because it's like your butthole's sneezing. But the 7 one with the blood is the worst.
That's not good.
That's a horror.
There's a one with a blood. Is 7?
7's blood.
7's just all liquid. No solid material. The thing is, you ever have when you hold it in and you know it's gonna be a 5 or 6? Like you ever have like for me, it's like if you have too greasy a breakfast, and it's the first thing that enters your stomach, and you know when you get up, like if you're at a restaurant, you're like, this is gonna be unbelievable in the next whenever I can find a place to sit down, this is gonna be a disaster. Yeah. And then if you're in a hotel, you get up to your room and it is like a religious experience.
Oh,
like
it's great.
Yeah.
I recently had a gluten-free vegan cheese pizza. And the vegan cheese doesn't digest in your body. Your body's just like, what do you want from me? And then just like the next day, it was like asteroids, fireballs, and it burnt coming out, even though it wasn't even spicy cheese. It was just because it was vegan cheese.
Stung a little bit.
Yeah, little bee stingers.
Ooh, little bee stingers on your butthole.
You need to go to a doctor. You know that, right? I told you this before. Just for your mind, not even for your butt.
I've been. I go so
and what
much
the doctors
now.
say, they just go, "There's too many of you out there in the world. There's nothing I can do."
No, I got a full
Just
physical, and
get
everything's
on.
perfect.
Everything
was perfect.
Speaking of crazy doctors, a Nigerian guy working on his college. This is a college
I saw this
paper.
Unbelievable.
He proved that gay marriage is impossible with magnets.
This is the single dumbest thing that anybody has ever said.
It's amazing.
This isn't a hoax. This isn't the Onion.
No. If you go to Death and Tax Mag, I don't think
That's a legit website.
But this is
I think this is real. I think this is totally real because every other story
it
on it
reads
seems real.
So dumb.
Okay, I can't even say the guy's name. Chibulihim Amalaha, a postgraduate student at the University of Lagos in Nigeria, has finally discovered a way to inconvertibly prove that gay marriage is wrong using a variety of scientific techniques, like magnets. And this is
Sounds
his word.
promising.
This is what he said. This is in quotes. To start with, physics is one of the most fundamental of all the sciences, and I use 2 bar magnets in my research. A bar magnet is a horizontal magnet that has the North Pole and the South Pole, and when you bring 2 bar magnets and you bring the North Pole together, you will find that 2 North Poles do not attract. They will repel. So, if you push them away from showing that a man should not attract a man, showing that a man should not attract a man.
Well, yeah,
if you bring 2 South Poles together, you will find that the 2 South Poles will not attract, indicating that the same-sex marriage should not hold. A female should not attract a female, as a South Pole of a magnet does not attract a South Pole of a magnet.
Brilliant.
This is
concept.
hilarious. This guy actually wrote this stuff down. Maybe he's trolling. Maybe he's gay as fuck. He's slinging dick like he's handing out churros at a fair. And he's just like, listen, I know what to do here. I just tell them there is no gay marriage. You tell me you are attracted to a dick, suck up on my dick. I do not believe. You're sucking up on my dick. I can't even believe you pretend to like this.
I have to change my
You do not like to suck up on my dick. I will come in your mouth, but only this one time.
He should hold a press conference, this guy, just so people can be like, I'm attracted to smelly armpits. Which magnet can you show me will disprove my hard-on?
Yeah, isn't that a thing with like a lot of gay dudes? They're into like stinky dudes.
Stinks, yeah, stinks. I got something for you, gay dudes. I got
Tommy
something
Buns.
for you.
Tommy Buns ready to
Got a
let
lot
you
of
know
smelly
what's
parts.
up.
Yeah.
Do you ever get attacked or picked on or rather hit on? By,
I've gotten hit
by
on.
the gays?
Sure.
What do they do to you? What's the number one move?
Hug you.
Do you think, first of all, were you offended? Do you like, hey, I don't look that gay?
No, I wasn't offended. I mean, I've been so hit on that I'm like, well, I really feel bad for women now. Like it puts it in perspective, you know? Or
Oh, right.
Yeah, like this guy's a real pig, man. Like I'm not a piece of meat. Jesus.
I had a comic corner me once and get really goofy with me.
Yeah, I had
in Montreal, drunk.
Yeah.
And it was so vile. I kind of totally understood like what it must be like for a woman to get hit on by some sleazy dude.
Sleazy guy. I had a sleazy guy do it too, and he was like, what did he say? He goes, he was a comic, and he was bringing me on stage, and he had been like, that's a good shirt on you, and all that, you know, all this little compliment. I was like, all right, man. And then he was like, when I bring you up, and I could tell he was hammered.
Mm-hmm.
What if I kissed you on the mouth? I'd be like, don't do that, dude. I was like, don't do
my
that. And he was like,
God.
all right. I'm like, just.
Oh my God.
Just don't do that.
A comic was gonna bring you on stage.
I was like,
so he licked the mic all before he gave it to you. Hoping that some of his saliva will get into yours.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Yeah, but but he was just like, he was a creep, right? So I was like, that's what a creepy dude is to a
Do you want to name names? No, don't do it.
Okay.
Do it.
What if it's the same guy?
It could be.
What's the same name of the guy?
No, I can't.
Don't
First
do
name.
It.
No, I don't want to.
First initial.
No. Brad's got the camera on.
Oh.
No. Oh, here. Put it on me.
Oh. No.
People are like forensic with that. I made up a name. Don't worry about it, folks. You want to hear something gayer than that? I was in a restaurant the other day. This is not even gay.
Oh, okay.
This is just disgusting.
Okay.
A woman. It's nothing to do with gay. I don't even say why it's gayer than that. A woman brought in a dog.
Yeah.
A giant dog, like a lab.
Right.
And she sat down at a restaurant, and the lab sat down next to her table. And I go, "What the fuck's going on?" And the waitress told me that she has an emotional needs dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you know about this?
Absolutely.
Tom just got it.
Yeah.
You got an emotional needs dog?
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna get it too.
Mm-hmm.
To go
For
on the-
real?
take it on the airplane for free.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So, if you have an emotional needs dog, like say
Yeah.
if you get your dog an emotional needs dog license, you could take that dog on an airplane.
For free.
For free.
For free, yes.
For free.
Yeah.
Yes.
I recommend
but
it for small dogs.
every airline has like a different policy. I mean, you like.
What if someone's massively allergic to dogs? They're sitting in front of you.
I have
and
seen
your dog is dirty.
Clown-like fucking dogs get on planes where I was like, this is a joke, right? Like a fucking basset hound. And to the point where we were all like, what's going on? Like the same thing, we were on a plane and they were like, it's their fucking emotional needs dog. And
emotional needs dog.
Yep. And I've seen a what's it called? An English bulldog. You know, like a big bulldog. Get on. Same thing, like it's emotional needs dog.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine that it would be legal in a restaurant, though. That is so crazy to me.
Yeah,
especially one that has an outside patio.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even using the outside patio.
Really?
This dog's
Oh, right. She
dirty, open asshole is
Yeah.
just sitting there in the middle of the dining room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not washed. No, I mean, the dog takes shits. Nobody's hosing his ass off before they bring him out in public and make him presentable. He's just farting right in front of everybody. It was a lab, man. It was a lab.
Big dog, yeah.
Big golden lab.
Yeah.
Crazy bitch.
Yeah, and I think, did you tweet this? Did you tweet this out?
Yeah.
It was a notable person, right?
Oh, yeah. Famous person.
Yeah.
Famous woman.
That's funny.
Ridiculous broken bitch. You can't bring a fucking dog. That is so. It's so rude to bring a big dog into a restaurant like that and act like you're king shit and just sit there with the dog and pet it.
Well.
Like that idea of emotional needs dog is so crazy. It's so crazy. The problem is, look, there are people that are absolutely devastated, and there are probably people that, if it wasn't for their dog, they probably wouldn't even want to be alive.
There are
That is a
people
fact.
that thing really applies to, where it's very...
Yeah. Guess what? You don't get to bring your dog into a fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
course.
You don't get to bring that big, stupid, hairy animal into a restaurant, and then someone touches something that your dog's butt touched, and they get worms. Because that easily could happen. You don't know if your dog has worms. You don't know what the fuck's going on there. You barely take care of that thing. how many checkups you give your dog? Dog can't even talk.
It's a
Who knows what he
California-
ate?
If you're going to be that paranoid, though, you're going to be more as paranoid just opening the door to go to the bathroom.
Not about paranoid, dude. I have dogs of my own. You just don't bring your dogs near a fucking dinner table. It's that simple. When you're out there at a restaurant, the dog is literally at the table, putting its face on the table. The person's eating and the dog's right here.
Yeah.
She's touching it, and then she's touching the table. She's rubbing the dog's hand, and she's picking up the forks. She's she's a dirty bitch.
You don't do that at
if she
home?
wants to do that, I don't do that at home. I don't allow my
Shit.
dogs to
My
fucking
cat
sit right
eats
near
them
the
off my ice cream cones.
Well, you're an idiot. That's a dumb thing. You probably have toxoplasma. But you know, if people want to do that at home, they choose to do that at home. That's one thing. But if you have that dog around where other people eat inside a building, there's a reason why everybody can't do it.
Yeah, she just wants her dog with her.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what
there's a
that is,
reason
of
why everybody
course.
can't do it because that if it was totally sanitary, anybody would be allowed to do it. We wouldn't even care.
Right.
The reason why it's not allowed is because it's unsanitary.
Right.
So to put other people's health concerns behind your need to be with a fucking thing that
Yeah.
loves you all the time is incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
To
yeah.
bring that into a restaurant and know that you are violating the standard health procedures with a loophole. And those health procedures were put in place to make sure that people don't get sick
Right.
from other people's dirty ass, stinky dogs.
But what about when it's a service dog where you know the person needs it, but it's still a dirty.
it is a problem.
Yeah.
It's makes more sense at least.
Right, but it's still that dog's still there.
It still is I think they should take precautions, and the people that work there should probably clean up extra good anywhere around the animal.
Yeah.
But if you're a blind person,
Yeah, of
I
course.
hear you.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But this is not that. This
No,
is
it's
just
not that.
needy, crazy California.
It's California. That's California.
Needy, crazy, famous
And
people.
California's the first. I remember when I moved here and I was getting like post-production jobs, working in different places, right? And people on staff, from the post-production supervisor to a producer or a writer to editors, there were fucking like 11 dogs, right? And I was like, what is going on? And it was like, well, we bring our dogs to work. And I was like, I've never seen this anywhere where people just, and then every place I got a gig after that always had 10 fucking dogs. And they were like, well, yeah, people just bring their dogs to work.
I used to bring my dog to news radio. Yeah, Frank Sinatra, the pit bull. I used to bring him to work. And I used to bring Squeaky Fromm, my other pit bull. I used to bring her to Fear Factor.
It's California.
Yeah, Squeaky Fromm was a creepy little bitch. I couldn't leave her at home with the other dogs.
Oh, really?
She would start some shit.
What kind of dog was
She
that?
was a pit bull.
Pit bull?
So I'd bring her with me to work.
Good dog, though?
Oh, she was a sweetie
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah.
She was a real sweetie with people. She loved people. She hated other dogs, though. She didn't like them because they would take attention away from her. She was a rescue dog.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a great thing about rescuing dogs in that you get to save a dog
Mm-hmm.
from, most likely being put down. But the bad thing about rescue dogs is, like, when I got her, she was almost a year. She had been really badly abused.
Mm-hmm.
And so that almost a year of her life, she had been treated like shit. And when I came along and treated her with love, anybody that got between that was, like, very dangerous to her. Like, another
right.
dog that came in and tried to get the love. Like, she would snap at the cat, like, bitch, you better get the fuck away from my man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wanted only me to pet her. Like, and when, like, she would come running with the other dogs, she would growl at them and snap at them to get out of the way so that she could get pet. She would
Wow.
back everybody else off.
Yeah, yeah.
She was just a gangster.
And were you able to curb
Never.
that at all? No.
She killed my dog. She killed one of my dogs.
Did she really?
She actually killed two of them.
Whoa.
Yeah, she killed one of the dogs, and then she got in a fight with the male, and to the point where he had to be put down.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. She was crazy. They're crazy dogs. The problem with pit bulls is you're dealing with and people who get mad at me for saying this. Listen, nobody loves those dogs more than I do. I've had a few of them in my life, and Frank was an amazing dog. He was a beautiful, smart, a sweetheart with people, with all my friends. He was so kind. He was such a sweet, friendly, loving dog. But he was a Hawaiian boar fighting dog. Like they used him to hunt boars, and those dogs were so animal aggressive because they were bred to go after boars and hold on to them.
Yeah.
They were so smart because of that. They were really clever, and they had a really high prey drive. And a lot of times in dogs, high prey drive is also with high intelligence. Like a lot of those dogs that get through, especially because of the cruel nature of both dog fighting and using them for animals, for hunting and stuff like that. Like you have to have only the best, wildest, craziest, strongest, bravest dog to breed. And that's how you make a strong bloodline. So the real problem is they're bred to do shit you don't want them to do. They're bred to fight. They're bred to want to kill animals.
Right.
So it's even if you're really good at training them, which
It's
I
like-
was really good at training dogs.
Mhm.
I've been training dogs my whole life. I'm pretty good at it. I mean, I'm not a professional. I'm not like guys who train dogs for schutzen, but I'm pretty good at getting a dog to explain what I want, and I know not to be cruel to them and always give them love. And when you get a new puppy, you spend more time with the big dog than you do with the puppy to let the big dog know that the little dog's around. You're going to get more attention. You're going to get more attention. Like, I'm good at that shit. But they have a nature. They have a nature from thousands of years of breeding, and it's really hard to change. It's really hard to
It's
change.
in the wiring, right? Like it's just not going to.
A bit. I mean, certainly you can develop dogs that are more aggressive because you promote it. But I did the opposite of promoting it. I tried to discourage it whenever possible, and tried to encourage love whenever possible, and make them be sweeties. Get them plenty of exercise. I bought a big yard just because I have plenty of room for them to run around. I want them to be contained. Doesn't matter. They want to fuck up other dogs, man.
She still wanted to kill
They
someone.
wanted to go to war, and she'll fight to the death. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But meanwhile, she's slept in my bed. She's the sweetest dog ever.
Damn.
She's my baby. You know, she would go on trips with me, and she would sit right beside me in my car seat. Like if I drove somewhere, I would take her with me all the time. I took her to work all the time. She would sit right next to me, just big stupid face, head out the window. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dogs are amazing. I love dogs. But you can't bring them to the restaurant, you fucking crazy cunt. Have that dog's dirty asshole out there with my little kids are touching shit. On my one side of the restaurant, there's a dog. The other side's a 3-year-old with a vulnerable immune system. You dirty, stinky asshole.
Do you bring your dog out?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't take my dog to restaurants, but I'm more concerned about just fucking restaurants. These waiters, with their dirty poop hands.
That could happen.
Fucking. I mean, I worked in restaurants, so I saw shit like, oh, that guy pissed me off. I'm going to take his hamburger patty, put it against my balls, and put it back on his.
No.
I mean, I saw that shit all the time.
Are you serious?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I've done it a few times.
I've seen. How dare you? You should lie about that.
Really?
It's been 7 years.
Is that statute of limitations legally?
People put on their balls?
Oh, dude,
that's horrible.
Yeah.
I did this one where this guy kept on. He said he wanted a medium rare steak, and so I gave him a medium rare. It was perfect. He goes, "That's too raw." And I'm like, "Do you even know what a medium rare steak is?" So we brought it back medium, and then he came. It's like, "Oh, you overcooked it." I was like, "All right, you didn't know anything." So when they gave us the steak back, I just wiped it all over my asshole and then put it back on the plate.
And then you fed it to him?
Oh yeah.
Wow, Brian.
Oh,
how rude. All of your asshole? What'd your asshole feel like? I think you lost there. The guy didn't even know. Meanwhile, you had steak juice all over your asshole.
You put a hot steak on your asshole?
Yes, I did.
You're a problem.
Didn't some of that seasoning kind of give it a little kick? in your
Spice.
ass?
Well,
What did
that's
your
why
ass taste like
his
that night?
steaks suck. You can't even taste them with your asshole.
Yeah,
no
but
flavor on that thing.
there's definitely a thing where when you're a waiter and the table is treating you like shit.
Sure.
It's like, fuck you, dude. I don't give a fuck that I'm working at this restaurant. How you're talking to me right now.
Yeah.
And then, so that happens more than ever. That's why when you complain at restaurants, unless you're cool about it, you got to watch the fuck out because a lot of people do crazy shit.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think that restaurants when I go and I try to be super nice to everybody. I'm super cognizant of that. You don't want to treat somebody like shit that's about to handle your food.
Yeah.
You got to be careful about that, man.
Yeah.
I've seen people do things. I worked at a restaurant and I saw a dude spit in someone's ice cream shake. Took a big huck of Louis and stuck it in there.
That's so... Oh, man.
And for no reason. He just decided to be cute. He thought it was cute. He would try to be funny. I was working as a dishwasher, and he was working as a cook, and he would go and spit on the cheeseburgers and shit and flip them.
That's fucked up, man.
He would go, watch this. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
There was this restaurant I worked at, and there was a Band-Aid that was in the tomato basil soup, and one of the waitresses brought it back, and it's like, somebody put a Band-Aid in the soup, and I just remember... They never replaced the soup. They just got her more soup from the same thing that the Band-Aid was in.
I was in this one place in Hawaii, and these people were trying to scam the waiter. They were trying to scam the waiter by saying that the waiter has to do something about, their bill because the rice was too hot. They're like, first you brought the rice over, it was cold. Then you bring it over and it's so hot it burns her mouth. I mean, you guys got to get it together here. And they were being it was an English guy, and he was being loud and belligerent. It was so bad and so blatant that it was almost like he was doing some undercover camera, showing how someone could scam a waiter.
Yeah.
And so then the guy brings over the manager of the restaurant. he insists on speaking to the manager. Like he feels like by the time the manager gets there, the manager just wants to calm everything down. Can we comp your meal, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're working on trying to get the meal comp.
Sure.
But you could tell the manager knows this guy's full of shit.
Of course.
So he lets the guy talk out, but the guy he didn't even try to calm him down while the guy was talking like really loud in this restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a really strange thing where like everybody was like paying attention to it. It was theater. But the manager just stayed calm, like, sir, what are you trying to do? Like, what would you like?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, well, I'm saying you guys have got to make amends here. This rice was cold, and now it's so hot, she burned her mouth. Like, I almost burned my mouth. And he's like, and, you didn't have one of the specials on the menu. I go to order it. You're out. My good man, I'm from London. If this happens in London, they do something about it. And the guy said, what are you suggesting, sir? He goes, well, I'm suggesting that you take care of our bill or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, that's not going to happen, sir.
Yeah,
of
course.
And so then another waiter comes over, and then they're just hovering over this guy while he pretends to be outraged about this. He's trying to put together a scam. He just doesn't have any ammunition.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're going for it. And
I've seen it countless times at comedy clubs. So many times at comedy clubs.
Oh yeah, mock indignation.
And it's always it's like a lingering group. Like people have left the show, and you're like, what's going on there? Why are they here?
Right.
And they're like, man, this shit wasn't even good. Like
Right.
the food you brought. And they're like, you ate it. And they're like, yeah, but it was bad. Like you ate it. You didn't say anything then.
They
It's just
always
now that the
order
bill-
a shitload too. Like they always order like 3 appetizers. Like they just go crazy, and then at the end they tell you.
I've seen at a restaurant a guy with a big party. Like these shrimp were terrible, man. These were bad. Like the ones that you ate an hour ago. Like yeah, this got to go, man. I can't. I mean,
there's another problem too that people do, and that's when a
Automatic
bunch of people
gratuity?
go out. No, a bunch of people go out, and one person gets stuck paying the majority of the bill. Like a lot of people don't chip in, and then they start going, "Well, what the fuck, man?" And then people will start complaining. Well, this wasn't even any good. I've seen that happen so many times where people don't pay their share, or they conveniently ignore the fact that the check has gone there and start getting up and grabbing their keys. They don't even act like they're going to contribute.
Right.
Like I've seen that happen many times where people one person shells in 20, and then I'll put in 40, but mine was only 20. And then there's well, then he put in 40. Shit, I don't have to put in anything.
Right.
People have all this weird logic when it comes to paying a bill.
That happens every night going to Norm's. All the comics, 20 comics all sitting there, and you're like, wait a second, I gave $40. Why did
Oh, that's not good.
all the time.
I've gone
I
out
end
with
up just
groups.
paying for it half the time
Yeah,
nowadays.
I've gone out
It's
with groups
easier.
where I was planning on, everyone chipping in something. I'm like, I have to bust out credit card and pay a crazy amount more.
Yeah, that can become a problem, man. And it also become a problem if they expect you to pay. Like, if you pay a couple of times, they're like, yeah, Red Band will pay. And then they'll start ordering omelets and shit, hash browns, and I wasn't going to get orange juice, but fucking Red Band's going to pay.
Brian's got my back.
I was going to have some ice water, but I'm pretty sure Red Band's going to pay. I'll get that steak and eggs.
Yeah, I just throw down a 20 at that point, which is usually
Yeah.
$5 more than I should. I'd be like, all right, here's my, you have to do that every
You can see people doing that, though. If you're around long, especially comics, are so opportunistic, man. The struggling comic is one of the sleaziest, most least trustworthy animal in all of entertainment, because they're part criminal, part artist.
Yeah,
all wrapped up together. Like, how many struggling comics do we know that are just a hair from being a criminal?
Yeah. Well, they're homeless people. They all live in their cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of
live
that.
in the Hollywood Hills.
You always take care of shit, though. Like, I've been turned down to pay stuff by you every time I've ever.
Yeah, but that's when we're working together.
Yeah,
When we work together, I take care of everything. That's the deal.
That's
the
pretty
deal is I
crazy.
take care of all the hotel. I take care of all the meals.
That's awesome.
I take care of all the. It's I think it's the way you're supposed to deal with it.
that's
It's not
nice.
your job to be there with me. Your job is to do your show.
Yeah.
So all the other time, all the other stuff during the day, that takes away from the amount of money that you make at a gig. If you have to worry about paying all your meals and paying for a hotel or paying for this or paying for that, that seems just like bullshit to me. When you're on the road, you're my guest.
That's
how I
nice of
treat
you.
it.
I have. It's very nice of you. I have friends that I've brought on the road who assume that I'm in that position too.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't bring. I'm like, yeah, I got you this week, and then they're just like, let's go out to eat. Same thing.
And then the bill comes, and then you're like, hey, man, yours was $50.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
They're like, I don't have $50.
That's ridiculous.
And what do you say? Listen, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you're just like, all right. I'm not going to make a fucking scene out of it unless it were like real significant. I'm just like, all right, man, it's a good date.
So they just assumed that you were going to pay.
I've had that happen for sure.
That's hilarious.
Of course.
That doesn't seem like something would be normal. In fact, one of the reasons why I chose to do that from the get-go was all the people that would complain about like being on the road with someone and how much money it would cost.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we got to pay for all my meals. So like at the end of the day, I don't make any money. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You don't make any money because you can't even eat your food you have at home. You got to eat out every meal.
Right.
And there's no reason for that. I think if a guy's doing well.
Did you see about the guy? This is not a comic, but there's a guy. It was a video. It was a clip we played on my podcast on Your Mom's House of the guy who's like, "Get your hands off my penis." That guy.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
My dad? Is that my dad?
Is that your dad?
No, it's so funny though.
It's,
Get your hands off my penis.
Well, this guy. If you look at this guy, he's doing exactly what we're talking about. He became famous for this in Australia, which is he would go out to 5-star meals, like at restaurants, and then when the bill came, he would just go, "I don't have any money," and they were like, "What?" And he'd be like, "I just don't have any money. Like I don't have any money." And most of the time, they didn't want to create scenes in these places, so he'd get thrown out. Sometimes he would fake a heart attack. And like he's like and they'd call an ambulance. So the priority was on getting him to like a hospital. He became like the most famous guy for doing this to the point where he had multiple court appearances, and like judges would like be like, "You're a disgrace to humanity," and this is such a, and he'd be like, "I'm a terrible person. I know."
It's one of the funniest videos in the world.
Play it.
This is him coming out of a restaurant.
You just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
He's fighting against the cops.
At the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before. Get some cups. Why did you do this to me? Hop in the car. Get some cups. For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one.
Know your
And
judo
you, sir,
well.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis? How dare get your...
He's amazing.
I love how it ends even.
Yeah.
Ta-ta and farewell.
That guy was for the 100th time. They all knew him. So that's what was going on there. They're like, "You're the same fucking asshole."
What a crazy fuck.
Yeah.
But if you ran a restaurant, what a pain in the ass a guy like that would be. A guy who takes advantage of other people being nice and the rules.
And he would also order like extraordinary bottles of wine.
Course.
He'd be like, "Yes,
Succulent
I'll take
Chinese
this."
Of course.
And then he'd be
Of
like,
course.
I don't have any money.
He probably also runs red lights. It's not for me. It's for
He's
you.
a chess master.
He is.
He was. He's dead. Yes.
Really? What's his name?
That guy died?
Yeah, he's died.
How'd he die?
I don't remember. He died in 2003, I think. His last name, I think, was Douza, D-O-U-Z-A.
D-O-U-Z-A.
I think so. And they think he might have been, mentally ill as well.
Oh, no way.
Robert. He kind of reminds me of Robert.
It's D'Souza.
Okay. Wow.
D-S-O-U-S-A.
A Hungarian guy.
Yeah.
In Australia. Yeah.
think
That was his
Succulent Chinese meal? A succulent Chinese meal? My limp penis?
I think that's the man.
Me and Tommy are going to be on the road.
Hold on a second. Let's figure this out.
Yeah,
no,
man.
that's not the man. I'm coming up with the wrong name.
Your wrong name?
Yeah, that's not him. What does it say on that video you just played, Brian?
Let's see. Man, Australian man. Get your hands off my penis, man.
That's not the guy?
Not D'Souza.
This is Australian man.
Here it is. I see the guy there.
Yeah, it doesn't say in any of the videos on YouTube, at least, that I see.
I see the video on Live Leak. Item info.
Get your hands off my penis.
So apparently he was a chess master.
Yeah.
Paul
Doza, right?
Yeah, Paul Charles Doza, dubbed the restaurant runner. He was a chess master. Wow.
Checkmate.
A former chef who dines at expensive restaurants and then pleads poverty has been convicted for the 54th time of refusing to pay for a meal.
Damn,
Paul Charles Doza, he was only 48 there, dubbed the restaurant runner by local newspapers, was fined $180 on Monday for refusing to pay a $50 bill at a Chinese restaurant. The following day, he dined out. He dined out at the 5-star Sheraton Wentworth Hotel, then told the staff that he could not pay the $48 check. He was fined $200 for that offense on Wednesday and ordered to compensate the restaurant. Doza pleaded guilty, but the charges saying that he was in a state of inebriation. He was a Hungarian master chess player and the leading junior drawing with Portich, etc. in Debrecen. I don't even know how to say this. In 1956. Wow.
This says that he sometimes he would eat, drink, say he was very ill, ask for an ambulance to be called. Out of concern, they would take him. But then one night he was caught when the same ambulance driver picked him up from a different restaurant.
That's so funny.
And he sometimes rented a luxurious apartment paying advance rent, hired expensive furniture, I guess rented that, sold the furniture, and then disappeared.
Wow. Yeah, there's people that don't play by the rules, man. And there's people that are just fucking crazy, too. Like, who knows? I mean, this guy easily could have been some sort of a sociopath. He could have been just completely nuts. It's funny, though, that someone would be a chess master, and that would be something that would be into doing.
Can I get the checkmate?
I mean, it really, if you can deal with the actual shame of being told that you're a delinquent and you're not paying, if you can deal with that, you just got an amazing meal that you can never afford. You just keep doing it over and over again, and it doesn't bother you in the slightest.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I saw that's fucking hilarious? The World's End.
Oh, yeah, Simon.
New pub crawl, Simon Pegg.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking funny movie, dude.
Really?
Fucking
Those guys are always
funny
great
movie.
together.
That was his best one. I
Really?
liked Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was good. This was better. This was really fucking funny. It was really good, man. It was interesting. It's like, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give it away, but it's like two different movies. It's like you're watching one movie and then all of a sudden the movie changes. Sort of like when Dusk Till Dawn. You remember in the beginning of Dusk Till Dawn, like super serious, like action thriller, and then it becomes this wacky, zany vampire movie?
Yeah, yeah.
This is not quite as extreme, but very, two very distinctly different films, and fucking great, man. It's great. I really enjoy the shit out. I laughed out loud, like really hard, a couple of times.
Is it in the theater right now?
Yes, it's right now. I laughed like really like good stuff, man. Good
I really
stuff.
like him. I like the other guy too, the big guy.
Oh, the big guy was amazing. He steals the movie.
Yeah, he's
the big guy's the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible, man. It was incredible.
And they're always together. Those two make a lot of movies together, right? They're always doing stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did Shaun of the Dead. What was the one they did with the it was like
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. Yeah, that's when there was like the killer, right? In town. I love that movie.
I love all those movies.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker. The guy's just funny.
Yeah.
He's just funny. I mean, his sensibilities, he's just really good at being funny.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason. What's funny, though, when I put it on Twitter, everybody was like, don't you mean this is the end?
Right.
Like the same, it's
Seth
really
Rogen.
similar.
Seth
Rogen. They're
yeah.
like correcting me. I'm like, no, fuckheads.
Yeah.
I want to see that also, though.
Yeah, that looks good.
I heard good things about that. I haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
With James Franco, is that right?
Yeah, James Franco. They have like a lot of cameos in that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a lot.
Like who?
Well, I mean, Craig Robinson, that whole crew, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, like all the guys that you've seen in those movies separately all make appearances, I think.
Why are so many chess players crazy? I was just thinking about that. Somebody put up a photo of Bobby Fischer. Wasn't he nuts?
Oh, my God.
He was like crazy racist, too, right?
Anti-Semite, like
Yeah.
big time.
Anti-Semite.
Big time. Yeah.
What was that about?
I just had a whole thing about like he hated Jews, and then they found out that he was actually
part Jewish.
Jewish in origin. Yeah. Like, yeah.
So he's trying to throw him off the tracks, sort
Yeah.
of like how Ted Haggard would talk bad about gay people.
Yeah, but he wasn't like he wasn't. The older he got, I think the crazier Fisher got. He wasn't even subtle about it, man. He was very much like, well, you know.
Well, I think there's also an issue with a guy like Bobby Fischer that he's just so fucking smart and so crazy.
Too smart for his own good.
Have you ever seen those videos, Brian? See if you can pull this up, where Bobby Fischer would play multiple games of chess simultaneously. He would walk in a room, and they would all be playing, and he would walk down the aisle and make his moves at like 16 different tables at the same time.
And then just kind of,
He was playing them all in his head at the same time. He was playing them all.
Yeah.
He had all the games calculated up in his head, running simultaneously.
All he did was chess, man.
That hurts
It was
my
for
dick.
an era.
It hurts my dick. I feel it in my dick. Like
From the tip to the base.
It's too much work.
Yeah,
I can't.
I
Just
know.
craziness. When I see
Yeah.
someone who's just completely engulfed by something like that, that's just like some super master that's completely engulfed in something like chess. Kind of freaks me out.
Yeah,
man.
it's scary.
It freaks me out.
I don't know where I searched for multiple chess games, Bobby Fischer.
That's not it,
Yeah.
because you don't watch the actual game itself. You watch him walking into a room and he's playing all these games at the same time.
There's a great documentary about him.
You look up multiple simultaneous pool games?
I put Bobby Fischer multiple chess games.
He who like took him in the end? I think it was like Iceland or something.
Iceland? Someone did, right?
Somebody gave him, yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay.
refuge.
Kasparov. Pull up Kasparov. You could find him doing it. Kasparov simultaneous chess game. There's Kasparov walking in a room. He's another super genius. And there's like a gang of people here.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy, man. This guy's just walking down this huge table on all these geniuses. They have notebooks and pencils and shit. They're all studying each move. And Kasparov walks in, and like literally within seconds, he's made a move. Look at this. Boom. Bitch, you're dead. You're fucked. Here, let me fuck that. What are you going to do here? You ain't going to do shit, bitch. Suck on that. What about this? Oh, you can go fuck yourself. And how about, oh, bitch, are you crazy? Oh, I see what you're doing. Bam! Slam! Checkmate. Suck it.
Wow, this is like dozens of people he's playing.
Insane. Yeah. And Kasparov would just do this on a regular basis.
It's
look at it.
multiple tables of people.
Yeah, 3 huge, long tables of people, and he looks over each chessboard no more than 15 seconds. He just looks at them, go, oh, this is actually a long one.
Yeah.
Look at this one.
He's got a huge boner.
His dick's getting hard as fuck. He's playing a guy that's good. The guy must be good.
Yeah.
Look, he's paused. He has to pause. And he moved. Oh, shit.
There's a little kid right
He's
here.
like, not that good, fuckface.
Look at that kid. Like, how old are you, little fuck?
I wonder if there's a limit. I wonder if he gets like 100 tables and his fucking head explodes. There's a certain amount of tables he could do.
But is he just like I don't play chess, only Chinese checkers. But like when he looks at it, is it like a math equation almost to him, or is he really thinking it in his head, or is it something that he can just look at the table and go, all right, I see what's going on here. This
A
needs,
guy
you know what I mean?
at that level
Yeah.
has played thousands of chess games, like many thousands,
Right.
and knows
The possibilities.
his level is like he has played them. He's also done them himself. Like, I want to try this route, and that is like it's a map to him for
Yeah.
sure. He
Yeah, I
sees the
agree.
whole thing,
Yeah.
and goes, "I know how this can go.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do this."
Yeah, I agree. It seems like there's a certain level that they get where they see things just completely differently
Totally.
than you and I would. It's almost like gridded out for him. He sees the possibilities play out. There's also games where they'll play 3 chess games simultaneously. It's like a separate board.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I've seen like this a much larger board, and like three different sets of pieces are all going at it at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't get
I
that
don't
shit.
wanna do that.
All of it. It's just too much, man. There's not enough time in the world. I would like to see chess masters versus how much pussy they get, like on a chart. Like how great you have to be, like Kasparov at his best, how little pussy he was getting. Like
You can't be getting any. You're
how
not
much,
getting any.
well, we would like to think they don't get any. We would like to think, as men who can't play chess, we'd be like, yeah, but he ain't getting any pussy.
Yeah.
That would help us, right?
I would feel better about that.
Yeah, I don't want him to think that he's way smarter than me and he gets a lot of pussy.
I think a guy though at that level with what he's doing, his time to indulge in his interest of pussy is not that great.
Well, I think he's probably such a bad motherfucker too. He probably can't even talk to regular people.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like if he was gay and he had to fuck you, the conversation he would have with you would be like, Jesus Christ, you just shut up and suck it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking to you, Tom. You don't know shit. And I don't care about football. I have 100 games going on right now in the basement. They're waiting for me. Suck my cock.
It's just a biological function, right? I just got to empty this load right now.
Well, you know, that was the story of Nikola Tesla. I mean, Nikola Tesla allegedly destroyed his sexuality. That was the quote. And the idea was that he got so flabbergasted by a relationship that he was having. It was so emotionally taxing that he decided to just kill his dick.
Really?
Yeah.
You shock it?
I don't know. It's an ambiguous term that he used, that he killed his sexuality.
You don't think guys like Kasparov and Fischer connected with girls who are like, you're really good at chess?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're really good. That's how you do all those moves.
Yeah, I'm
totally beat him.
I need to find that quote because it's a really weird quote. His sexual desire. Yeah, he was a weird guy, man. But the other thing about Nikola Tesla, man, is that he was so fucking smart. You would have to be crazy to be that smart. I mean, there's really no way around it.
Yeah, I think everybody, all these guys, Fisher, all those guys they were, what is it, like savants?
Yeah.
They weren't, they couldn't have regular conversations.
Well, Tesla also had some strange quote about pulling signals from other worlds. That he was receiving communication from other worlds and was getting some ideas from other worlds. He had a really bizarre mind, but the thing about it is you can't deny the effectiveness of it. It's real weird when someone is an obvious, genuine, 100% bona fide super genius to the point where a guy like me can't even understand how this guy could come up with so many patents. I mean, he had so many fucking patents. So many different light and illumination-based systems designed by Tesla, dynamic electric machine communicators, the first patents issued to Tesla in the U.S. He just did amazing shit. He developed alternating current. Like before that was just direct current. You couldn't have like a toaster and like a car plugged into the same port.
Oh, and he designed it so
he designed alternate current so that it would work with different shit.
Do you think that the reason we are designed so that it doesn't frustrate us how much smarter people like that are than us?
Yeah, like with the math thing that we were talking about. I think there's a giant spectrum of human beings, first of all. And I think that there's a reason why personalities vary so much. And I think it's part of the whole machine that keeps society moving.
Yeah.
It's like there has to be jokers and there have to be serious people and there have to be people that are obsessive about things and there have to be people who are lazy. There has to be people that accept shitty jobs and people that want the best of everything always. And they have this insatiable desire to get the most expensive car and the most expensive wife. They're almost like machines pushing entropy. They're almost like machines pushing momentum. And it's like these various different variations in personality from the full spectrum of incredibly lazy to insanely ambitious.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's important, that it all mixes together and it acts as like a machine.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I mean, it makes sense to me that everything that we see is natural. All behavior is natural, whether it's behavior in wolves or honeybees or, coyotes, whatever it is. Behavior of animals is natural, including almost all the behavior that human beings exhibit, including materialism. And then it's almost like materialism is just another way that we can show our peacock feathers and our domination outside of actual physical contests and fighting, and that we figured out this variable where a guy does not have to be handsome, does not have to have great genetics, but if he's got a brilliant mind, like a Bill Gates type character, he could rise to the top and be like one of the sexiest catches a woman could ever hope for. You know how many supermodels would love to go out with Bill Gates? Oh my goodness. If Bill Gates was single, let's just say if Bill Gates was single and he just decided, you know what, I'm 70, it's time to sling dick. And Bill Gates just went on a goddamn tear. If he could get the hottest, most perfect women, and they would be flabbergasted that they were with Bill Gates. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it was Bill Gates.
Oh yeah.
just below. I want to be yours, honey, baby. I don't care about looks. It's what's important to me. His personality,
awesome
and you're
guy.
so amazing,
You're
and you're so
dynamic.
kind to me. Just wants to cuddle with him and take cock and diamonds, and just get diamonds every day, new diamonds and diamonds here, and everything is made of diamonds. Her whole house is diamonds.
And forget to take the pill pretty often.
Whoopsies! Got another baby coming. Whoopsies! Yeah, awesome insurance policy.
Load.
Yeah, but that's part of like this whole evolutionary system. It's almost like it's designed that way. It's designed as being another outlet. You can get the Laird Hamilton thing, where you're just like this beautiful man, this gigantic, or you know, it could be Wozniak. You know, because Wozniak, little chubby guy with $1 billion in the bank.
Sure.
You know, he makes him quite attractive. Oh my God, I'm so into circuits.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's these weird variations of what makes someone attractive, and these weird variations in personality that sort of push, you know, the whole machine of culture.
Materialism also applies to like what your sense of self-worth. You know, you get things for yourself to make yourself feel, to pump yourself up. You know.
Yeah.
This is an expensive thing. I got it. Therefore, people will associate me with this thing.
Dude, Tesla invented X-rays.
I invented
investigating. Did you really?
Yeah, that's my shit.
That's your shit.
Tesla may have been the first person in North America to accidentally capture an X-ray image when he tried to photograph Mark Twain illuminated by an earlier type of gas discharge tube, the Geyser tube, in 1895. The only thing captured was an image. In the image was the metal locking screw on the camera lens. Soon after much of Tesla's early research, hundreds of invention models, plans, notes, laboratory ideas, tools, photographs valued at $50,000 was lost in the Fifth Avenue laboratory fire of 1895.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, laboratory fire. Wink, wink. Yeah, they came in, torched that place, stole his notes, created X-rays.
Yeah. It's worth a lot of money.
He probably got ganked many times over.
For sure. Yeah, it's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, he had something to do with the invention of radio waves, too.
Jesus, man.
A radio, rather. I think he had the first radio-controlled, remote-controlled car or a boat. He had a remote-controlled boat. Yeah, 1898, Tesla demonstrated a remote-controlled boat. 1898, dude. I mean, what the fuck? He called it teleautomation. Incredible. It was in Madison Square Garden. He demonstrated his electric radio-controlled boat in Madison Square Garden. That's what a big deal it was. The guy had a remote-controlled boat, and everybody was like, gasp!
But that's so long ago to come up with that.
It is incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
He invented a lot of
That's
shit.
like a fucking spaceship to those people.
He was also in love with a pigeon.
Really?
Yeah, he was in love with his pigeon. He had a special relationship with a pigeon.
Like Iron Mike?
I think it's different.
Reincarnated.
Who's Iron Mike?
Tyson?
Oh, Tyson?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think his relationship with the pigeon might have been more romantic.
Oh,
let me see
like
if
a
I find
fleshlight
pigeon.
that flies away when it's done.
P-G-E-O-N.
A flashlight.
Yeah.
Go clean yourself in the pool.
Yeah, he had a lot of weird shit with pigeons.
Really? It's such a unique one to be down for.
Yeah, I loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. As long as I had her, there was a purpose to my life.
Yeah, that's spelled out right there.
He became a vegetarian in his later years, living on only milk, bread, honey, and vegetable juices.
What about bird feed?
No bird feed. That's sad. That's for his pigeon. He loves one. He bought injured pigeons back to his hotel room to nurse back to health. So he's basically kind of a crazy guy. Lived in a hotel. Sure. He really couldn't take care of himself. He was just a nutty dude.
Got some pigeons.
He made a lot of shit.
Brian, you're like a pigeon.
Made a lot of cool shit.
You're a pigeon.
Listen, there's no need to be mean to each other. All right, this podcast basically over. If you love Tommy Buns like I love Tommy Buns and you live in Toronto, tough shit, sold out.
Damn.
Last I checked, there was very little tickets.
Really?
Yeah. A smattering, a handful. But it'll be me, Tommy Buns, and Brian Callen Thursday night. And I just signed up to do the Comedy and Magic Club next weekend, the 27th and the 28th. Big fun. I love Mike.
It's great.
The guy who owns that place.
Hermosa Beach, baby.
And then after that, I'm at the Ontario Improv. I got a lot of shit happening, people. trying to do a lot of stand-up now. I'm really enjoying the shit out of it now that my TV show's done.
That's
I feel
awesome.
a weight is lifted off my shoulders, a
Yeah.
breath of fresh air under my wings, like a butterfly. I
Yeah.
will soar.
Nice.
Tommy Buns.
Yeah, you can fly now.
I'm fucking excited.
I'm going. That's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna go with Brian next week.
Whoop,
this
whoop.
Brian
That's right.
to Columbus,
Ohio.
That's right. Yep.
The #1 new gay spot on
We're
earth.
gonna do a gay show.
The Bear has landed.
It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be with Tony Hinchcliffe and Christina.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a huge show.
And then Christina and I go do a bunch of like one night.
Where's your website so they can find the dates?
TomSegura.com.
Tom Segura, SEGURA.com.
Going everywhere. Nashville, Birmingham, Charlotte, Atlanta.
All over the world,
San
bitches.
Francisco.
All over the world, worldwide. The Tomorrow podcast, Matt Fultron. He'll be in tomorrow, The Full Charge. And then Wednesday, Kathleen Madigan. And then Thursday, we'll see you fucks north of the border. All right, we love the shit out of
T-dot.
you. And we'll see you soon. Big guys. Mwah.